5 days until the start of free agency. Welcome aboard, Big Sills. Please hit the like button. Our supers all go to the top, and it all goes to the show. We appreciate you guys. I want to start this show off by talking about ownership and leadership. So, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, and I'll show you why the owner of the Cleveland Browns and that organization has sucked for 26 years since they've gone back with an expansion team to Cleveland. They refuse to have a conversation with Myles Garrett, thinking that that's just going to evaporate and go away. And you're not going to sit there and have a conversation with your star player and one of the greatest players in the history of the National Football League, who's still got prime years left. Ask yourself this: would the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles allow Jaylen Carter to demand a trade and the owner not sit down with him and try to convince him to stay? There lies the difference in good teams and shitty teams. There lies the difference. It starts at the top. You know, you can have all kinds of criticism for Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Eagles. But the one thing that he is player friendly. He pays his guys. He invests in his guys. He also invests his time with his guys. That's why that football team is the best roster and the best organization in football today on March 7th. That could change. The NFL is a revolving wheel. That's why the Browns, that's right, are the Browns. They don't do things right. So many of the boxes have to be checked to build a great football team. Be proactive. Listen. Hire good people. Draft. All of that shit has to go in the right direction, and you got to be rowing in the right direction. Not in Cleveland. The owner of the Cleveland Browns' position is, I'm not fucking addressing anything, and I'm not sitting down and talking with Myles Garrett. Dude, it's not going to go away. This guy doesn't want to beg the player to stay. I would. If I've got a talented guy in my building and I'm trying to build a championship team, my end game is to be a champion, not to have an ego. Same shit goes on in Dallas. You want to, this is exactly why there's haves and have-nots. So I don't want to sit and talk to Myles Garrett because why? I'm afraid he wants to move on and not play here, and Haslam doesn't want to hear how shitty he's run his team, because that's an indictment on him. You know what you did? You ensured that Myles Garrett will not be playing in Cleveland in the 2024 season. There's not a chance in hell that guy will ever suit up again in Cleveland unless you do the same thing you did for Deshaun Watson. And you know what that is? Extort it. Bribe him. Here's this amount of money. That's the only way he's staying. That's not how you build championships. I mean, I'm not going to meet with my star player because I'm fucking afraid of what he's going to say and how shitty our organization is. You know, get this. You know what Myles Garrett's leverage is? I hate you. I want out. Hit the like button. Appreciate you, Blaze. Thank you so much, my friend. I mean, you just watch that story unfolding. I don't think a 3-year, $118 million deal is going to keep him in Cleveland. You know why? He could get that contract anywhere in the NFL. That's why. By the way, we appreciate everybody rolling in with us here. Thank you again. Please hit the like button. A lot of you today. Xander will join us at 4:30, and we will have Jason Cole talking about Howie Roseman and the first week where the Eagles started doing business. Monday's the bullshit day where everyone pretends they're not tampering, but they are, whatever they call it. You don't think they've been tampering now? Throwing disinformation out now? Oh, it starts Monday. Sure it does. Hey, sure it does. By the way, I see people in there going like this. Garrett and Hassan Reddick, are you fucking crazy? I mean, Hassan Reddick is a bunion on a toe compared to Myles Garrett. The only Hall of Fame that Hassan Reddick will go to is how not to do a contract negotiation Hall of Fame. That's the difference. Hassan Reddick to Myles Garrett is like a bunion. Right, Sue? You know what bunions are. Keep squeezing them feet inside of them extra small shoes. Come on, Sue. Hit the like button. We appreciate everybody, man. Thank you, right? I mean, I'm watching this Brown story, man. Hey, then you look at the Dallas Cowboys, and you hear Dak Prescott, or Micah Parsons even more so, talking shit on Jalen Hurts. By the way, we're going to have a conversation on that here in a second. But you got Micah Parsons talking about how much better Dak is than Hurts. Hey, this just in. Hey, missing Parsons, fucking win something. Anything. You were a loser in college. You were a loser in the NFL. What have you won? The only ring that you have is the ring that you wear around your you-know-what. That's it. Don't tell me that guy don't wear one. You know that guy's friends with Prince Charles, man, because anybody that does a podcast like that, my opinion, he can't be all man. This guy's taking shots at Jalen. Win something, dog. I'm going to start calling him Diddy Parsons. I mean, hey, my quarterback's better than Jalen. Hey, man, your quarterback may have a better arm than Hurts, but I'll tell you what, it's brought you nothing. It's brought you nothing. Dude, seriously, the Dallas Cowboys, you know, do you know when I really need to laugh? It's when Philly 500 or Xander, they send me some Mark Holmes. We're going to get him on Wednesday because I'm going to kick his ass on Wednesday. You know how I laugh? You know, a couple of these moves, we're right there with the Eagles. I'm like, a couple of these moves? Like what couple of these moves? Re-signing missing Parsons and then what? You don't have a GM. You have a TV star that likes to hang out with chicks in a toilet. Go on and yo. Nothing. This guy doesn't check the waiver wire. He checks the TV ratings. When you're more concerned on TV ratings than the waiver wire or free agency guys that are out there potentially to make your team better, you're not vested in your team. Look, I have been critical of the Eagles, but the one thing you can't be critical of is the results. They validated it. I told you this, guys, on February fucking 10th, the day after the Super Bowl. When you punch your ticket like that, there is a new narrative in Philly. I hate bullshit talk. I'm a substance dude, not a fantasy island guy. If Cincinnati doesn't move off of Garrett, you mean Cleveland? Would you go after Hendrickson? He's criminy with this Hendrickson guy. I'm not ripping up a championship game plan, Philly Don. For that, I'd rather draft a guy and take a shot at one position instead of future and present. When you make a move for Trey Hendrickson, you're trading what you have in your plan, your future, and you're throwing more eggs in one basket. Here, you're doing this. If I draft a guy and he blows, I can recover from that because I got core guys on my team. I'm not ripping up the game plan or the roadmap to get to another Super Bowl just because I see a shiny fish in the pond where I have to throw my lure in and I have to rip up what I want to do. That's not what I'm going to do. That's not what I'm going to do. Make me want to take a different off-ramp. Okay? If I'm the Eagles don't have to take off-ramps. They're in a luxury position right now. Do you understand that? You're in a luxury position. Harold Landry was released by the Titans, might be a viable option without giving up the house. Hey, what did I tell you? One of my predictions came true already. I told you Jonathan Allen would be cut. The Commanders are going to cut him. Hendrickson is like the 2022 Reddick. Good, not great. Hey, look, I think the kid's good. I saw Fred Johnson kick his ass. Look, I'm critical of the Philadelphia Eagles. You know this. But I'm critical for the small moves they may make that could injure their chances of winning another Super Bowl. The Dallas Cowboys, the difference between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles is as wide as the Grand Canyon. That's the difference. Approach, ideology, running your cap, talent evaluating. You know me, man. I'm going to give it to you real here. The fucking Rams and the Commanders are further ahead. Why? They got a great coach, and they got an owner that Stan Kroenke spends money. Why do you think the Rams are so good an organization? Why? Because they spend money. They're good in talent evaluating. And they got a great coach. That's why the Rams are good. Do you realize right now, the only organization in the NFC that I would have any kind of, concerns about is how fast the Rams have recouped when they had to push all their chips in, and now they were a third down away from beating Philly in the playoffs. The Rams are the only team. Detroit, you know why and where Detroit is? Detroit doesn't know how to play big games yet. The Rams do. The Rams have won a Super Bowl in the last 4 years. They know what they're doing. The Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 years. You want to know something? 95% of the roster in Dallas wasn't born the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl. How the fuck would they know what being a champion's about? Wouldn't know what's going on. Listen here, man. Just watch the shitty teams operating right now. Dallas. You know, do you guys agree with me that since Jerry Jones won those Super Bowls 30 years ago, he's gotten worse as a football person? He hasn't gotten better. Where? His son had to talk him into drafting Zach Martin instead of Johnny Manziel. How did he get better? You know, Howie Roseman, the general manager of the Eagles, just must be laughing at the Dallas Cowboys right now. I want to get that. Let me get those helmets up there, baby. There you go. They just must be laughing. What's the best move? Give me this here. Blaze, appreciate it. We need to try and sign Allen now. I'd offer him. You know what I would do if I were Philly? Here's a one-year deal, John. Here's a one-year deal. Now you got Bosa too and Allen. You know what I would do? Honestly, if I'm Howie, I would offer these guys 1 year at $7 million and see who bites. Well, that's too low for me. Good luck in Tennessee. Good luck in Seattle. Good luck in Carolina. Or how would you like to be this? Say you're Joey Bosa or you're Jonathan Allen and you're going to hit the free agent market. How would you like to do this? All of a sudden, you sign a one-year deal, and it's Eagle-friendly. You come in, and you have a Pro Bowl season, an all-pro season, playing next to Jaylen Carter. Think the chances are good of that? Ask Zack Baun. You may turn around and sign a 3-year contract worth $60 million. And I'm only 29. And I'm at a premium position because I signed that 1-year deal. You believe in yourself that much, because if you're looking for the bag of money and you've just been waived, released, how many teams are going to give you the money that you're rightfully thinking that you deserve? Why wouldn't you? I mean, this kind of goes down to my boys thinking. Wins enough? You got to go prove it. Do you know what the Philadelphia Eagles have created now? It's the land of opportunity. If you're sitting back and you're like, you know, everyone said I was hurt. Look at Bosa. So Bosa's in this position now. You know, everyone says I can't stay healthy. You know, the team's kind of underachieved around me. Is it Joey Bosa, the Saquon Barkley of defense this year? He comes to Philly and plays 17 games, puts up 10+ sacks, which he would. Then he goes in the market and signs a $26 million deal. Maybe. It just makes – and you win. If you're Jonathan Allen, you've had an underachieving career in Washington. I get it. The organization sucked with Daniel Snyder. They were moving pieces up and down, in and out. Absolutely true. All of that true. All of it true. You come to Philadelphia, though, Jonathan Allen goes, Jesus. What the defensive tackles that have played in Philly the last 2 or 3 years Devon Hargrave signed a $20 million annual deal. And now Milton Williams is going to sign north of a $20 million deal, 3 years, $80 million. And if you're Jonathan Allen, aren't you saying this? I'm better than Milton Williams. I'm better than Milton Williams. I think he's a better. How many people in here think that Jonathan Allen's a better ball player than Milton Williams? I do. You know what the money he's going to make in the open market? Ain't going to be near 3 years, $80 million. It's a fucking stupid take. He's going to have 10, 15 teams after his ass. You don't have a pass rusher, edge rusher. I'll tell you this. Joey Bosa is a better player than Josh Sweat. Had a better career. Stills cooking today. Hey, my man. Think we might take a look at Allen. If for the sole reason of mind games. Hey, bring him in. Work him out. I like that, Masked Avenger. You're right. When you see people released, do you know the first thing I would do if I was Adam Peters in Washington or Brad Holmes in Detroit? I'd be like this. Fuck, there's a guy from Philly to sit there and add to their team at a lower price because people now want to go to Philly. Where would you rather play right now? Dallas Cowboys? Ask Mark Holmes this question. Where would you rather play today? The Dallas Cowboys or Philly? If I play in Dallas, you better pay me more. If I play in Philly, I'll give you that 1-year prove-it deal. It's just watching this week, Cleveland, how they're fumbling this whole thing with Myles Garrett. Howie Roseman hasn't fumbled one thing yet. Hey, dude, he may land on a bad player in the draft, or he may land on a bad player in free agency. But you know what he doesn't do? He doesn't deviate off that plan. And when he does, it's calculated. Hey, fuck, man, my running back and my linebacker were my two best players last year. I'm going to re-sign them guys. Get this. Isn't that just common sense? Look at that whole thing there, man. Hey, who are the best players on both sides of the ball last year? Zack Baun and Saquon Barkley. I mean, do you really have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out? Hey, fuck it. I'm going to give those guys an extension, lower some money, get some cap space. I can sign ball with this. Get this. Saquon Barkley's success made sure that Zack Baun stayed in Philly and kept the success going on the defensive side of the ball. How hard is that to think like that? It must be. You know what? Sometimes the easiest things to do in life are the hardest things to get accomplished. And you see it without and throughout the league. It's crazy. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Give me a total on our likes. Appreciate you guys coming here on this Friday. I know there's very few places out there for you to roll into. We appreciate it. Don't worry. We won't be talking any stupid fucking Flyers talk every 10 seconds. It's not going to happen. You know when we talk about the Flyers and the Sixers and the Phillies? When they fucking win. The Eagles have put in every single pro team in Philadelphia on notice. You know why? Because they're winning. If I was Dave Dombrowski, Daniel Briere, I mean, if I'm Daryl Morey, where are you? You guys are running shit shows. Not Dave so much. I love Dave. I've known Dave a long time. Come on, man. It's one thing to talk like a champion. It's another thing to act like a champion. Shit, get this. The Eagles are a month out from their Super Bowl just about, right? And you're still fucking talking about them. Howie Roseman makes a move to cut someone, and it's bigger Because you know why? You don't want to sit around and talk about that shitty deal Daryl Morey cut with Paul George. Paul George, Darius Slay. I don't know. I have no interest in that first one. Allen or Hargrave, Bozo or Landry. Swummy Phils, Arthur. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate the super. Allen's better than Hargrave. And Bosa's better than Landry. Dude, Bosa's only problem is health. I'm not asking him to come in to be the future of your team. I'm asking him to help me get back to the Super Bowl next February. That's all I want. If I can get, hey, let me ask you a question here. Appreciate you guys mentioning the Jerome jerseys. It's a great gift from Xander. Let me say this to you, man. Would this be worth it to you? If Joey Bosa signs a one-year deal and you gave him $7 million and he gave you 10 sacks, which he's very capable of doing, and he gets you back to the Super Bowl. And I do believe it's in Santa Clara. Would that be worth it? Forrest says that Baun is that guy. We'll find out. All I know is this. I've only seen him do it 1 year. Get this. I hate the Brosa brothers. What are you, running a popularity contest? I'm talking about fucking signing good players. I don't give a shit what their attitude is. What is it? This guy's like a marriage counselor. Honestly, man, this is about getting good football players, not about going, well, you know, this guy really has kind of a pissy attitude. What do you think you are, guy? Kindergarten? Well, he's really kind of not. Makes no sense. We're going to get to some topics here. Do me a favor. Bosa, Allen now are now part of a conversation. Holy cow. If you're let me say this to you. If I'm Jonathan Allen and Joey Bosa, you know what I'm doing? I'm going like this. Am I picking the phone up? Here, let me go down the line here. If I'm any one of those guys, let me go here. Am I signing in Buffalo? Maybe. If I'm Bosa or Allen. The Dolphins, tax reasons, possibly. Listen to the reasons why I would. The Jets, no thank you. The Patriots, only for the bag of money. Baltimore, maybe. Steelers, yes, but then I know I'm not getting a lot of money. The Bengals, never. The Browns, never. The Texans, tax reasons. Colts, no thank you. Jags, tax reason only. Get this, not a football reason. Not a football reason. Kansas City, I don't know. You know why? I'm not going to get paid there. Chargers, no thank you. Cheap. Let me tell you something also about the Cincinnati Bengals and Mike Brown with that whole Trey Hendrickson thing too. We're talking about shitty owners. So Mike Brown is probably so cheap. I guarantee you he has parking meters in the players' parking lot. That's how fucking cheap that guy is. That's when you know you're not looking to build a winner. This guy probably has parking meters. And charges the players to park cars in the parking lot. That's how cheap he is. He probably returns the Coke cans that the players use in the lounge. Any D-line free agents would want to play with Carter. Dude, absolutely. Jonathan Allen and Jaylen Carter playing D-tackle for you. I don't know, but that sounds unbelievable. Do I want to play in Dallas? Well, if I want to be a TV star and have my own reality show, and I want to have a show like Sileo, and I want to have my podcast scene all the time, and I want to be a dumbass like Micah Parsons, yeah, it's a great place. Micah Parsons is the perfect Dallas Cowboy. You know why? He doesn't give a fuck about winning. He doesn't give a fuck about his teammates. And he only cares about his own brand. That's what makes Micah Parsons the absolute perfect Dallas Cowboy. He is the perfect Cowboy. Don't give a fuck about my teammates. I want to be a superstar TV star. I wear the star on my helmet. I don't give a shit about winning. Fuck everyone on my team. They suck. I'm great. Seals, what the fuck are the Browns waiting for Garrett? They're afraid to address it. Imagine this. You're the owner of the Cleveland Browns. You're worth billions of dollars, and you're afraid to address a player because you're afraid of what he's going to say about your organization, that it's not a winning environment, and he doesn't want to hear it. Instead of doing what's best for his team, okay, trade his ass. Let's get the best that we possibly can and the most first-rounders we can and get this guy fucking out of here. I wouldn't want Myles Garrett on my team. If you don't, hey, you think Jaylen Carter wants to be an Eagle for the rest of his life? I do. Shit, Darius Slay's probably going to take less money to come back. You don't take less money and come back in Cleveland. Well, what? Hey, all you got to do is just look at cheap ass Cleveland, and then look at cheap ass Mike Brown in Cincy. Funny, it's Ohio, the home of football in Canton, Ohio, and you got two shitty organizations run by two buffoons in the state of Ohio. Two buffoons in the home of the NFL. Okay. But that's a good look. In the PA, you got the Steelers and the Eagles. How you doing? Get 8 championships. You want to hear something fucking nuts? You got 8 Super Bowls in the state of PA. You know how many you have in Ohio? Goose egg. Do you think he's getting traded? And who to? I don't know what Cleveland's going to do. Think about what I just said about the state of Ohio and them shitty run teams. They have no Super Bowl wins. Cleveland's never fucking been to one. PA's got 8. Hit the like button. And I guess it's standard par. I do. I guess it is. Incredible. Incredible what week he had. Now, let me reel you in here. Because Big Sills has got to be Big Sills, you know. I mean, you know, a scorpion's a scorpion. And I can never not be a scorpion. By the way, my new Twitter or X feed is Philadelphia Sports Talks Public Enemy number 1. That's what this show is. This is Sport Talk in Philly's Public Enemy number 1. I like other people talk about us. You know why? You guys are doing your job. Congratulations. Congratulations to all of you. You got a fledgling radio station. The only thing they can do is go after you. Little old us. Fucking a merit badge. Hey, by the way, one thing I will say about that fucking guy, Mike Messinelli, and I said Messinelli. He's on fucking his radio station calling me a racist. He didn't have a problem being on this station or on my show 22 times. If he thought I was such a scumbag, why'd he come on? Then he says it's a mistake. Yeah, you know why it's a mistake? Because you didn't do your job here, and because your show's dying, and your career's dying, and no one cares about you. You talk about the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Unbelievable. Do your job. Have some fucking decent content. Philadelphia's filled with it. I could do 10 fucking hours on that city. And by the way, I'm a racist scumbag. At least I didn't beat the shit out of my producer. Now, I do have to say this. Is everything really all cool? In Eagle Land, let me pull up my X account here. Okay? Let me pull up my X account. I got to read this here from A.J. Owens. I got to read this here. Here it is. And you tell me if everything's all good in Eagle Land. God, I love this team. I really do. It is a content. It's not a machine. It is a content factory for Big Sills. This is As the Eagle Turns. Fucking great. So here's what I posted on my X account. A.J. Brown. By the way, this ain't Big Sills talking. This is A.J. Owens. He's back. Here we go. It's like high school all over again. This even isn't my fight. Y'all speculate instead of talking what the person just said. Then go on your pages and create articles until the national media catches it. Y'all blaming the media, and it's really y'all. Who's he talking about? We move on. Like y'all pick sides. It's not your favorite player. Weird behavior. A.J. Owens. Eagles community is so messy, bro. This is fucking great. Holy shit. It's Big Sills and Big Sills heaven now. This is unbelievably awesome. Hang on here. This caption is lame. Oh, yeah, the Jeff McClain quotes. Got to remember that dickhead, too. Slay went on a podcast and was sneak dissing Devontae Smith. Woo! How you doing? This is awesome, Bradley. Thank you, Bradley. Thank you. Keep the show going, bro. Yeah, but Sills, you keep punching on the gas pedal. It's motivating the Eagles to do the best. Well, right now, you just motivate me to make sure that I keep doing my best too, Bradley. Your commitment to us is awesome, and I thank you. Hey, Bradley, don't think I may talk shit on you or you on me in the next couple, rounds here, so I just want you to know. Thank you. I agree with that take. It's Garrett or nobody. Go in the freaking draft. So wait a minute here. Let's do this again. A.J. Owens. There's a problem in Eagleville with the Eagle community. Is that its locker room? You're a thief, Sills. You're stealing all the ratings. I can't be stealing from them. They don't have any. Who the fuck watches Mike Missinelli? Let me guess. Some 80-year-old guy who remembers some guy in Sea Caucus calling him. Hey, Mike, what do you think about fucking, Fletcher Cox? He's been off the team for a couple of years. Oh, I didn't know that. Most guys will listen to that guy. Ratings. I hope you say IP. Dude, 97.5. I thought it was country. Wait, I gotta take a sip here. We got high drama. You don't have a very good locker room? AJ says, why are you acting like this? Taking shots at Devontae, Slay, and what's his name, crying and moaning. I missed Smith this. Makes 3 players he called out. What was the Smith this from Slay? Dude, Darius Slay's butthurt he got cut. Let me tell you my real spin and my real take on all of this bullshit here. It's irrelevant. You're the fucking champions. You want your little kids to cry and bitch and moan in the offseason here. You want guys to have their egos out there. I really don't care. You're a Super Bowl fucking defending champions. And if you want to act like children, I'm all right with it. As long as you show up September 8th and you go win another Super Bowl, I don't give a shit what you do. It's really completely irrelevant to me. Who gets this? Who gets that? It's all diva dudes talking anyway. I don't really give a shit about it. Go win a game. You want to act like babies? You want to be people who want to be in the spotlight? You want to kick up noise for your own personal podcast in the offseason? I really don't give a shit. As long as you were the champs, who cares? Now, this is an issue if you don't win. But Darius Slay, this is on him. I completely 100% blame him because he's butthurt that they cut him. You know why? Can I make this comment and you tell me if I'm wrong? Slay thinks he's Brandon Graham. That he was going to get a 1-year victory tour, that he was going to have the 1 year and the Eagles were going to reward him with that 1 year. And you know what they were going to do for him? They were going to give him the autonomy to call it a career or not. Am I wrong? End of the day, dude, you're rent-a-dude. Tell me I'm wrong. This guy thinks he's Brandon Graham, Jason Kelsey. He thought he was going to get that same treatment. He was going to get that same treatment Brandon Graham got in that same latitude. And you know what they said? You're not an Eagle. You're a rent-a-Eagle. Brandon Graham's a home-cooking kid. Community loves him. Darius Slay is a rent-a-cop. Locked down the corner a couple years. Thank you for your service. I'll see you later. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey. Those guys are in a different room. 10-plus years in Philly. Lane Johnson. Soon Jordan Mailata. That guy's a fucking rent-a-eagle. You know how you go get a U-Haul? It's Darius U-Haul. Hey, thanks, dude. See you on the flip side. Hey, by the way, you're a fabulous player. I ain't putting your ass now in the Ring of Honor. I'll tell you that. Appreciate it, guy. Get the fuck out of town. Service is not wanted. This guy thinks he's his ego. Hey, dude, he did this shit in 23 too. You know what Slay did in 23? I played good. Those guys suck. Fuck him. Those young players don't need that. Hey, you know what? You know what? He's a front runner. Darius Slay's good when shit's going great. When shit goes bad, he's the worst teammate you can have because he doesn't stay consistent. He's up and down like this. Fuck, Nick's more consistent than he is. These guys should know if you're not home. You do know that. His ego, though, doesn't tell him that. Dude, nobody who was drafted by Howie's not a home-cooked kid. So this is completely on Darius Slay being absolutely butthurt that they cut his ass, and now he's looking around going, I'm the leader. Hey, I agree with C.J. Gardner-Johnson here. I know this. Every year that guy's been a Philadelphia Eagle, they've been in the Super Bowl. I know this, dude. When shit goes sideways, you're pointing your fingers at somebody in the locker room and not pointing it back at you. Then you go on a podcast with the Dallas Cowboy turds, and you're sitting there barking at those guys going, hey, fuck, our guys last year didn't have leadership, and I know there's some young guys in there. They do need a veteran. He's telling them, hire me back. Guy's so self-absorbed with himself. And I get the position because they're like wide receivers. These guys' egos are 10 times larger than mine. Darius Slay would be perfect in Dallas. I don't have to give a shit about my teammates. He's a front runner. Hit the like button. Dude, you know what exposes people? Adversity. Adversity exposes people. That's what exposes folks, is when things aren't going perfect. Who are you? How do you react? I'll tell you one thing. There's no doubt adversity hit the Philadelphia Eagles a year ago. They reacted with a Super Bowl off of last year. You want to know something that if you look at it and you want to say and you want to put a storyline on the last 34 regular season ball games, the Eagles went like this. Well, shit, we sucked at the end of the year in 2023. We're not going to make the same mistakes again, and we're going to rise up and be better, and they were, and they won a Super Bowl. That just shows you 23 was a wasted season because they were 10-1 at one time. 2023 should have been more competitive, but they learned. It's okay. Fuck Slay. Guy gets butthurt because they cut him. Well, you're 35 years old. You make $11 million. You're in and out of the lineup. And I need money to sign Zack Baun is more important than you. I'm not saying not bring him back, but you need to have a come-to-Jesus conversation with that guy. Hey, dude, shut up. I need you to be a leader on and off the field. Not a leader on the field and an asshole off the field. You know why you can talk like this? You're the world champions. Hey, Darius, I don't need you. I want you. And make me keep wanting you. Kind of shit like this. Throwing shots at Devontae. Throwing shots at Gardner John. What the fuck are you doing? What are you, 5 years old? Hey, can I make a point? If that guy signs with another football team, he is going to take the biggest shit on you that you've ever seen a player who was a former player take a shit on you. This guy's going to be almost as bad as T.O. Absolutely. We're going to hit on that next. Slay took a shit on Hurts. I'm going to make a point to you here. And I'm going to get to this now. So he goes on that weirdo's podcast, Missing Parsons in Dallas. And he names his top players at the quarterback position. Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar. Those are the ones he names. Now, look, those would be my Mount Rushmore. However, you play in Philly. You want to go back. Your fucking Super Bowl was won by your quarterback and the MVP. And you decide to take a shit on Jalen Hurts? Let me tell you something. If I played in Philly, the number one name that I would name would be Jalen Hurts, even if I didn't believe it. Because he's my teammate. Even if I didn't believe it, I would still put his name in there because he's my teammate. You want to know what a shitty fucking teammate Darius Slay is? That's it right there. This guy just helps your resume potentially to knock on the door to be a fucking Hall of Famer. And you know what you did? You took a shit on him by naming those other four guys who have only but one been to a Super Bowl. The more and more this week went on, the more and more I hate that guy. I'm not even going to have a conversation about Hurts in the top. I told you where he is with me. He's in the top 5 for sure. But if I played on that team, he'd be number 1. Just won a Super Bowl with him. What are you doing? Love this show, bro. Turn it on and hear F. Slay. Soon it'll be contracts that don't allow players to have podcasts, messing up the brand. The guy's a cancer. Darius Slay's a fucking cancer. Tight Seal Shannon said he would never pick someone over Elway. That's right, because he helped him win 2 Super Bowls. Anthony, Darius Slay is a leader of convenience. He's a leader of convenience. Slay's not a good leader. Take that C off it. By the way, let me say this to you. You put a C on that guy's fucking chest and you took it off Devontae Smith. That's insulting. It's insulting. It's insulting. Devontae Smith, let me say this. Devontae Smith may not be the best wide receiver in pro football, but you know what he is? He's one of the best leaders on that Eagle team. Never bitches and complains and does his job. Gave you a hometown discount, wants to be an Eagle for the rest of his life. He wants, you know what Devontae Smith looked at? He's looking at the end result, where when he's 30 years old, the Eagles are going to want to give him a victory year where they celebrate him and let him call his shot. That's what that guy sees the end game. Most players don't see the end game. This week's been so easy because the majority of those players in the organization this week have acted like champions. Two guys who aren't homegrown and will be remembered as Eagle legends, Malcolm Jenkins, Saquon, both great people and true professionals. That's an absolutely true statement, Blaze. Let me tell you what I loved about Saquon last year. You know who the quietest guy in the offensive huddle was? It was Saquon. There was no pitching. There was no anything. He just did his job and led by example. Slay is such a not good teammate. He is a fraud. All that shit. Get this. Do you know what hides poor character? Winning. You know what exposes poor character? Uncomfortable situations and adversity. Banana Pudding was petty on Gardner, but his other take was money. Go cry about it. Hey, the thing with, look, I would pick those 4 guys too. But if I was his teammate, Brian, hey, Brian, if you were in a foxhole and you were in battle with somebody and you had 4 dudes in the hut, you had one of your guy next to you who was in that foxhole with you, and you won that battle and you won the war with, are you going to fucking name other people in another foxhole somewhere else going, I'd rather have those 4 guys? I sure ain't. That's his quarterback. At least I thought it was. Debating the quarterback situation 3 weeks after the dude wins Super Bowl's MVP. I mean, guys, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I do know timing. I'm like, what is that? Even if I didn't believe it, I would say he's my number 1 guy, then Allen, then Lamar. You want Slay back? Do you want Darius Slay back? Says, I see the guy every day. I'm not just qualified to say, just a thought. Hey, listen, Brian, you can have an opinion, and I think you're talking Hurts here, if I'm not mistaken, brother. I get what you, hey, man, listen. One thing you can't do, Pump, you can't dismiss the resume. Hey, he may not throw as good a pass as Joe. Here, let me show you something here, Pump. He may not throw a pass as good as Joe. He may not run the ball as good as Lamar and Allen. He may not fucking be the great reader of defenses, stay like Joe Burrow, or have the athleticism of Lamar. But you know what he does have? He's got a piece of each and every single one of those other guys that makes him a unique talent. Even I have to come to the conclusion of that. You can't just dismiss that. I mean, if you're going on pure athleticism, that's not enough in the NFL. That's not enough. The intangible of winning has to matter. It has to matter. Sills, more than half this chat doesn't think Hurts is elite. Okay. And I understand half the chat's thoughts. Because when you use the eyeball test, you see Burrow. Burrow's a superior quarterback. It's more than that playing in the NFL, though. I've seen better players than Brady. Brady's got longevity, took care of his body, and won. And he was a better game processor, and he was a better understand. You know what made Brady so freaking great? He dissected the way of playing football the best. That's what Hurts is starting to do. That has nothing to do with athleticism. He knows his limitations, and he knows his strengths. Same as Brady. What made Brady great, he dissected the game the best, played the percentages, understood that. It's an elite way of processing the game. It's a different conversation. They process the game differently. Dude, there's certain people like Elon Musk we mentioned yesterday and Steve Jobs and guys like that process technology differently than others. There's also certain quarterbacks that process the game differently. Brady versus Rodgers. Brady versus Manning. Brady was a better champion than Manning. Plain and simple. Get this. What would you rather have? The most gifted player to ever play the game? Or the greatest winner in the game? I don't know about you, but I'd rather be the greatest winner in the game. Maybe, just maybe, Slay sees it from a different perspective since he plays D. He's going against these. I'm not saying he's. Hey, listen, when you're looking at those four quarterbacks, he's absolutely, they're difficult to play against. You're missing my point, Sig. Even if that's true, would you leave off the guy that just helped you win a Super Bowl? And the guy you go to war with, and the guy you win with, and the guy you bleed with? Would you really leave your teammate out like that? I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. So I get this. So I just won a Super Bowl. I'm going to say this. Man, that guy in Cincinnati is just a great player. Listen how this sounds. Man, that guy in Buffalo's, man, he's a super player. That guy in Baltimore is unreal. That guy in Cincinnati is insane. Patrick Mahomes, man, what a great quarterback. You just won a Super Bowl 3 weeks ago with Hurts. Are you really going to do that publicly on a podcast so that Dallas Cowboy fans can take a knee to you and bow to you? That's what he did that for, Cowboy fans to love him, because he knows there's a ton of them. It's pandering. He pandered to Cowboy fans? Why? What is the end goal of that? Oh, because he doesn't really give a shit being an Eagle. The only reason that him and his wife like Philly and like the fans and like everything is because you're winning. Let me tell you something. If you guys were losing and you had 4 or 5 win seasons, this guy'd be talking the worst shit. I want people of character when adversity hits, and I want to. That's how I gauge you. You see that piece of shit, Mike Missinelli, across the way? You know why he's acting like that with me? I didn't say anything bad about Mike. I may have said it to Xander privately, but I never said anything publicly. You know why? Because he's panicking over his career. He's watching it melt like a candle. And so he's lashing out at me because you know why? Krauss has kept me and not him. You know why he's mad? The Krauss has kept me and fired his ass. That's why he's mad. I'm such a racist. Why is he begging me to fucking go to court and sue Joe? For him. I got the text messages. I'm not involved in your life. That's nothing to do with me. Because I wouldn't do that, I'm a racist now. Oh, okay. Okay. Just chalk his ass up to the piece of shits in this business. It's another dude. Like Angelo said yesterday, he's a means to an end. It's just a dude in the business to me that I'm not shocked. I got to do one thing I got to ask you guys, and I really appreciate it. I have never had more people defend me yesterday against that turd than any time in my 30 years. My aunt even said that. And I want to thank you. It's humbling. Thank you very much. Not very many people in Tampa defended me when it wasn't true. Hey, I'm not saying I haven't said stupid shit on the air that got me in trouble, because I have. I've owned it. But I want to thank you. I had people posting going, I've listened to Sileo for 3 years. What the hell are you talking about? It was really great. And I was reading it. Believe me, I read it. And I'm like, holy shit, that's great. Xander talks about the community and shit. I've never had a community back me. I want to thank you. I give you my best effort every day because you guys have my back. I just want you to know that. Okay? I mean it. Thank you. It's growing and they hate it. If you're a racist, you sure pulled a smoke screen over Jerome. I got to tell you something. One thing you'll never hear me say, and I get certain people saying it. Damn, how come Sileo has a lot of black people on his show and has a lot of black friends? I've told you this guys before. I don't have black friends. I have friends. I've never looked at people like that. If more of my friends happen to be black, so be it. If they happen to be Italian, so be it. I make friends with people of great character because sometimes I don't have it. Okay? My friends all do. Shit, you know who's coming on in the next couple of days? Doug Williams. He's been a friend of mine for 50 years. And he's coming on to talk Commanders about what they're doing up there because I think that's a team you got to keep an eyeball on. Is that Commander team. And he works as an executive. And he's been a friend of mine forever. We may not always like your opinions, but we always have your back, Big Sills. That's all I ask for. Sills an equal opportunity offender. That's my mantra. I need a t-shirt or a hat like that. Okay? That's okay. The kid that JAKIB gave a chance to, that Bill dude, he hasn't been beat up enough. He will. Let me tell you something about corporate radio. You know what corporate radio means? You're not there for long. I was in one place 16 years. Everyone's like, Silo's always fired. I was there 16 years. Hit the like button, guys. Appreciate you dudes. All right. Bottom of the hour. Jason Cole, we're gonna talk Howie. Guys, let me ask you one thing because a Hall of Fame voter's coming up at the bottom of the hour. You think right now Howie Roseman has a resume for the Hall of Fame? Sills, would you rather take Hendrickson for a second than Garrett for a treasure chest? You think the Bengals and cheap-ass Mike Brown, you think that guy's really going to not want first-round picks for that dude? I'm not giving the Bengals anything. I'm going to ask a guy who votes for Hall of Fame. Do I think Howie Roseman's a Hall of Fame general manager? Yeah, I do. He's changed the way you do the books. I'm trying to think of a better guy. Do you know how the Patriots dealt with the cap? They got rid of guys. Do you know how the Eagles handle the cap? They pay guys. What? They pay guys. No. Paying players? Philadelphia is the only organization, in my opinion, that's player friendly. Everywhere else, you're cattle. You're cattle. Okay? Thank you, brother. I really don't even know where that came from. And you want to know something too, Rich? You notice it's only the people in the media saying it? It's no viewers or listeners. It's only the people that work in my business. Gee, I wonder why. People I've spoken to for years, for 38 years, they're like you, Rich. They never say it. People in Tampa to this day, They'll go on my Twitter. You know what they'll say? Why aren't you here still? The business doesn't want it. You know why? Because I don't have any guardrails. I don't believe you could do a show like that. I think you have to be transparent. Radio doesn't allow you to be transparent anymore. It's good and bad. Once again, I love radio. I hate the people in it. Howie cares about the person before the player. Blaze, I'm going to give you a Jimmy Johnson mentality. I don't believe that to be true with everyone. I think Howie rewards players who produce. You can't be in a league of liking people when production is the number one most important thing. Blaze, he's not giving Zack Baun that contract or Barkley an extension just because he's a good dude. Okay? Must be doing something right for them to be hating. I don't even know where it's coming from. Oh, I do. Because it's happened for 30 years. Okay? I know. The people in my business hate that I'm still on the air. They've done everything in the last 6 years to do everything. My aunt will tell, you know what my aunt said today, Xander and everyone? My aunt's so worried that stuff in Philly will end my job now. My wife, too. You must have done something. Every day, my family's on edge of what I might say. Cup of coffee on me, Dan. BS you get is incredible. Listen, I don't mind a guy like Jake Tapper killing me for the Barkley take, or Xander kicking my ass for having maybe the worst, and I'll have to admit, maybe one of the worst prediction years in my entire broadcasting career. That is all true. Just to make shit up, though. You know what Mike said? He posted, came back at me. Everyone in the world knows you as a racist. Really? Who do you know that I know? That's my friends. Sure, not my audience. Peter, thank you, brother. I gotta get Doge. Yeah, hey, Howie's had such a good week. He's turning me. He's turning me. Thank you, Roland. Now, this is probably more true than what William. It's probably true. Yes. What's Roseman's next move? We're going to hit on that. Jason Cole votes for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I want to tell you guys what you did for him. Okay? You guys harassed him so much. And he did more homework on Eric Allen. And he got your boy in. Kudos. Jason said that. You're sick. Awesome, man. Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you, dude. I think Joey's talked shit on me too, and now he's a member. That's what we do here. That's what we do, man. This guy's turning me, man. Howie Roseman is absolutely turning me. Okay. Oh, not another one. What's holy cow, man. What's going on here now? Hey, thank you guys. Look at what John Morgan just posted, Xander. John Morgan, I will be suing Mike Missanelli. I stand with Sills. I can't tell you how many times I run into people like Mike Miss. If anything, he's projecting himself onto you. These people who say things like that usually are the people just sad, honestly. John Morgan just tweeted he's going after Mike Missanelli. I didn't really want to really do that. Okay? I was kind of kidding. But John Morgan now. Hey, Joe Krause and Xander, look at my Twitter. Call me Joe Bell. I'm not really a fan of that guy either, but he said Mike's an angry man. Oh, my God. Hey, I'm sorry, man. John Morgan, I stand with Big Sills. Look at John Gruden. He got a picture of John Gruden doing it with the Canes gear on. Xander, I got to get you some of that. Oh, my God. John Morgan's a legend. You don't know this guy, man. He's going to sue him. He's going to sue Beasley. Guys, hit the like button. This guy brought on John Morgan. Oh, my God. Sorry, guys. I stand with Big Sills. John Morgan stands with a racist? I don't think so. Before the end of the season, we'll have you wearing an Eagle t-shirt. Hey, wait, I had Jerome's jersey on. Oh, my God. See, folks, I've known John Morgan 30 years. He knows who I am. You know what he tweeted me? Xander, you're going to love this. You know what he tweeted me? Because advertisers were afraid. I decided to stand with Big Sills. Sponsor your show. That'll be in perpetuity now, forever. And Betty, John Morgan wants to sue Mike. He's going to send a letter to I really didn't want to do this. I was kind of just trying to scare him. Wait a second. What is this, man? I'm not giving you. Wait. I don't know if I don't know if I promised that. Sue, I don't know if I promised that. I got to go back in the records and find that if I promised some shit like that. Okay? I don't know, Sue, if I promised that. I'm not sure about that. Oh, look at wait a minute. Yes, you did. You've been waiting for the opportunity. I don't think I promised that. I'm not sure I did that. I'm going to have to go back and look at the archives. Those guys are talking about the fucking Flyers, and I got John Morgan wanting to suit her ass. This has been a great week for me. Massive views, and you. Man, Mike's going to get reamed. This is not going to be pleasant for those folks. You bet me you didn't. You don't make me get Larkin. Easy, Twiz. Easy. Sills has the connections. Yes, we do. I'm very proud of that. This racist has all the connections. Hey, Sue, I'm getting a little tired of your shit, all right? You know, you did promise me if Hurts wins the Super Bowl, you did promise. Okay? You did promise that you would put a jail. I don't remember that, but I will, Sue. What's Howie's next move? What do you think his next move is? You know what Xander's doing? Hey, you want me to give you an impression of Xander? Here's my impression of Xander right now. Refresh. Guy's got to be making a fucking move right now. Refresh. Captain's got to be refresh. This guy's just hitting refresh. refresh. He's not going to let a Friday and a media dump go by, is he? Refresh. Hey, this guy's got every Philadelphia sports fan hitting the refresh button. Got to be something in there. You know what? I like that, CJ. I think it is Orrin Burks, too. I think it is Burks. Jason Cole's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk about Howie Roseman Hall of Fame. Nuclear. Here's my take. I think the Jurgens thing's got to be put on hold a little bit. I told Xander this yesterday, okay? I don't want to hear the word chronic. Well, not all the time. But when it comes to back injuries, okay, I want to know if this is going to become chronic. 181 likes. Come on, guys. Let's hit those like buttons there, man. Thank you. The supers have been great today. Thank you. I love John Morgan. John Morgan has been a friend of mine for over 25 years, him and Ultima. Used to invite me all the time. I used to go over. By the way, you want to hear something crazy? Some of you may not like it. Some of you may. He used to have President Clinton over. He had President Obama over. I met him. They were in his living room. And I get invitations every year when the president comes. Now, it doesn't matter. He's a lawyer. He donates on both sides. But I get an invitation to see the president every year from John. I've taken him up on a couple. I met President Obama and I met President Clinton. Leader of the defense needs to be extended. Reed Blankenship? I think, dude, Orrin Burks gives me, okay? Orrin Burks gives me the vehicle to make sure Dean comes back healthy. Okay? He makes sure Dean comes back healthy, and he also gives me a great rotation piece. So that's what Orrin Burks does for me. Okay? That's what he does. William says, Myles Garrett doesn't fill out online forms because Myles Garrett doesn't submit. Yeah, dude. Stop talking to me about Trey Hendrickson. Okay? Oh, yes. Yeah. And so am I. I hope marijuana becomes a major part of the National Football League when it comes to dealing with depression and also with pain management. I don't know about you, with people taking oxycodones, Percocets, and Percodans. You know, it's funny. I used to call people drug addicts who did marijuana and did other recreational drugs. Little did I realize I was a drug addict myself when I was in pro sports, taking Vicodins, Percocets, Percodans. I'm sitting there looking out a window, seeing a guy with a peace sign, and I'm sitting there all high on drugs. Look at those drug addicts. And I got 70 pills in me. How you doing? I mean, right? Look at them drug addicts. Well, shit, how many Vicodins you take? 4? Well, dude, that's way more toxic on your liver than smoking a joint. Doing. Hey, you see my boy Xander with that hurricane hat on today? That nice color. He looked like John Gruden. My boy sent him a bunch of gear. That's freaking phenomenal. So my attorney now, Big Sills' attorney, is actually the attorney there, right there. Morgan & Morgan, John Morgan himself. You know the guy in the commercial? That's my boy. You're going to take that case personally. You're going to go after little Mikey. Shit, you better be careful, Mike. I'll make sure the Krausses get that 60 grand you robbed off them. I'm sorry. I told you I can't stop sometimes when I'm having fun. AJ just traded to New England. Hey, watch this. Really? No. Wait a minute. Oh, my God. The Eagles just traded A.J. Brown to the Patriots? No way, Eagle talk, baby. Let's do a topic. Okay. Yeah. To the Patriots for what? A first, 2 firsts, and a third. Yeah, man. It's great to have people like John Morgan behind you. I appreciate John a lot. You know, when you do this as long as I do, my boy Jason Cole will tell you. You know how many times Jason Cole goes, "Are you in trouble again?" Not this time. This time we got the goods on everybody. Got to say this to you, man. I admire Jason Cole so much for the work that he does. And, you know, I don't get a chance to say this enough to him. I was telling my aunt this today. He always finds time for me. And he's one of the really great people and always finding time. You know, this goes all the way back to the Rome days with him. And we've been friends probably since back when he was down in Miami. That's how long he started down there with Christine Brennan, who's a dear friend of mine. And I love her. Let me tell you something. You know that WNBA folks that are going after her and saying all that shit about Christine Brennan? A woman who has defended women's sports and has been an advocate for them. And those women in the WNBA taking a shit on her, you have no idea what you're talking about. She is the quintessential broadcaster. I mean, she goes back to Northwestern and they celebrate her. You've seen her on our program a ton of times. I love her, man. That Miami Herald down in there with Edwin Pope and those guys. Edwin Pope was one of my best media friends. Him and Tom McEwen. The 2 people that were in the state of Florida that I had the best relationship with was Tom McEwen at the Tampa Tribune and also the great Edwin Pope. Man, Edwin Pope, I'd go out to lunch with him. Me and Jimmy would go to lunch. God, it was so great. It was just a great time of broadcasting and also having those great writers. And I don't think you see the writers yet because you got social media today. Everybody thinks they're Edwin Pope's Jr., whatever. And all those guys that wrote back in the day were just such great writers. Paul Zimmerman, you know, Jason's work, you know what happens, man? You get diluted a little bit because you see all these other loser people that are writing shit, and you're like, that's not Jason Cole work. So I wanted to throw some flowers at him here and just thank him a lot. So let's bring him up here. Our good friend Jason Cole, Hall of Fame voter. And Jason, I don't tell you enough, man. Thank you so much for coming on the program the way you do, because again, man, you're very important to me. And I think your work in the NFL over these 30 years has just been absolutely great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. How's Stevie, by the way?
Well, I got reprimanded pretty harshly because my wife said that I'm not allowed to scream at the dog any longer. So I've got to be more tempered. So yes, that's now off, and Stevie's doing well. We love him very much. And unfortunately, I got off the air. My wife said,
You're sleeping in his doghouse. That's what you're basically saying.
Yeah, my wife is like, if you ever talk shit on our dog again like that, you're going to have more issues than you want. So I've been fully reprimanded. I mean, I feel like I'm in the house well right now. We'll leave that alone. So
do you have Mrs. Sileo's jersey up there? Because you need to have. She's tougher than anybody else on that board right now.
No. Mrs. Sileo has something hanging of mine in her wall in the other room. You mean that's? That's kind of what yeah, that too. Absolutely. Hey, Jace, let me talk to you about Howie Roseman here.
Yeah.
So look at what he did this week. This guy goes out, he gets money from cutting Slay, gets $4.3 million in relief on the cap. He turns around, he lets loose a Bradbury, gets $2.1 million. Mm-hmm. Then he gives a contract extension to Barkley, which frees up $8 million. There's your $15 million and a little extra more there that they ended up giving Zack Baun. I mean, is this guy just ahead of the game? There was the money that they found to go pay 3 years for Zack Baun. Is this what's making him a Hall of Fame general manager, is the way that he's manipulating the cap?
Well, the cap doesn't make you a Hall of Fame general manager. The cap allows you to keep some players, and hopefully those players turn out to be what you expect. And look, you still got to replace Bradbury and Slay and
Sweat and Milton Williams. He's got to
replace you got to go get these guys. But yeah, you want to keep your premium players happy, and Barkley's an important guy to get done and keep, and that puts pressure on Baltimore. They got to take care of Derrick Henry, in my view. After this deal that you get done. But what I would just say is Howie's done a really good job of refining the fine art of keeping talent while manipulating the cap correctly. And he learned how to manipulate the cap and move money around from Joe Banner. And Joe was really good at it, while also having an eye on understanding, the talent a little bit better. Because Joe, I think, Joe is an analytics guy when it came to talent. I think that Howie has mixed the listening to your scouts, because Howie's not a scout himself,
right?
And he doesn't pretend to be a scout himself, but he understands the language of what his scouts and his coaches are saying to him in terms of what's important. And that's what's really critical. Like, I work for Mike Tannenbaum on his site, but I will say this: Mike was one of those guys who thought he understood scouting at a certain point when he got to the Jets. And no, it's not. That's not what you are. You're a contracts guy who needs to be able to synthesize all of the stuff that you're being told to understand what value is and what the value on your roster looks like. If that makes sense. And that's a really difficult skill to combine.
Do you agree that just like players sometimes, Jason, and coaches, when you're younger and you're in this league, and I think you've been around people like this, when you're young, like when I got into the league, I had binoculars like this. I didn't see a lot of things around me. I only saw the things that were in front of me here, kind of had those horse blinders on. as you get more comfortable in your position, as you get around more situations, wins and loses and losses, you start to get a better feel for the league. You start to get a better understanding of the league. I mean, his first time, like you said, he comes from the finance side. He was okay. The 17th, people could have maybe mentioned it as a fluke, but all of a sudden he gets taken out of the broom closet by Jeffrey Lurie, and there he is. He's drafting right. He's listening to people. They're hiring the right coaches. Do you become more like the more experienced, just like a player? First year, you're blunt.
Well, sure. I mean, look, it's like anything. The longer you're at something, the more you can fall back on, oh, yeah, when we did this, this worked. And when we did this, this worked. Now, you have to learn how to take action with that and not just sit on the knowledge and know what's coming. It's sort of like one of the things that I was digesting, and not that I was at the combine, but people were talking about, oh, look at all the great running backs that are coming out of this combine, and running backs are going to come back up to the fore and be dominant again. Maybe they're still kind of cheap out there, but what you're asking yourself is, what's the next iteration of offense going to look like that takes advantage of the talent that is in this draft? And it's sort of like when people say, oh, look at what Derrick Henry did in Baltimore, and this is or what Saquon did in Philadelphia. We should be, just go running back based offense. It's like, no, it's not that simple. Okay. Derrick Henry is by himself in a different level because of the size and the power of the back. Saquon Barkley is a different style because of the combination of his physical skills with what the other guys around him force defenses to do. So when you put Saquon Barkley in an offense that has A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and a good quarterback and Dallas Goedert and a solid offensive line, you're going to maximize his ability. If you leave him in New York with the Giants, he's going to suck. Right. He's just not, he wouldn't have been any good. Now, I would like to have him, depending on who I end up with quarterback going forward. The Giants should have kept him. But once they let him go, he went to the perfect place to maximize his ability. And he's going to have another big year, maybe 1,500 yards, maybe 1,600 yards. He's going to be a dynamic player for them for the next 2, 3, 4 years, right? And he's terrific. But how do you match the talent? Because it's not just go take a running back and magically we're going to have a running team. It doesn't work that way.
But don't you agree? Just to expand on that, and I believe you're right. However, last year, and maybe it was just, in a cycle here too, because it might have been the greatest free agent running back class with Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones and Saquon and Henry. You really don't see that group. And if you really want to look at all of those guys, what did they all have in common? They all made and helped their teams get to the playoffs. And I'm wondering, do you set the market when you give a guy $20 million? Or like you just said, do you think that's just in the cycle of because we've never seen that many good backs that were out there with the age that we're going to have that kind of impact? Because you think it's just a cycle?
I think it's a cycle, but I think it's a cycle that's going to last a long time because we're in an era where we have a lot of great wide receivers. Okay. So if you have a lot of great wide receivers and you have quarterbacks who can get them the ball, what are you forcing the defense to do? Play 6 and 7 man fronts, right?
Correct.
This is not the old days where you can load up with 8 man fronts. And a lot of philosophy of modern football is based on, I'll give up rushing yards as a trade-off so that I don't get hit with big plays and I don't get lit up on the scoreboard because of the talent people have at wide receivers and even the mediocre quarterbacks are solid enough that they're going to beat me, right? Like that's philosophy. Well, yes, that's true. But now if I insert great runners that force you to keep you honest, then I'm really stretching what your defense can do. And I can create really productive running backs who, balance off my offense. And now if you've got a glut of those talented running backs, even better. I think the game is in constant evolution. And so to come back to your original point, the amount of knowledge you have about not where is the game at this moment, but where, based on talent and what is coming through, where are you going to be a year from now? And that's what guys like Bill Belichick have been great at, what Andy Reid have been great at, and what I think Howie is great at in assessing how do you put together your roster. Where is the game headed? And where is the game headed in particular with the talent that I have?
Darius Slay said something on Michael Parsons' podcast, and I wonder, again, where you stand on this. And it's funny. You just won a Super Bowl 4 weeks ago with Jalen Hurts, and here you are on a Cowboy podcast. I guess, hey, old man, get off my lawn, Dan Sileo kind of thing here, fraternizing. My coach Jimmy Johnson was not a fan of fraternizing.
Whatever. It's player.
Okay,
podcast.
but here he named his 4 guys that he thinks are the best quarterbacks in the game right now, and he said, I'm not going to put them in order, but Joe Burrow, Allen, Lamar, and Mahomes. He says those guys are the guys that are different. I'm not saying he's wrong, but here's a guy that was just cut. I think he's a little butthurt that the Eagles didn't give him the ceremonial last year in Philly. Is he wrong though? I mean, in his context,
he's not wrong. I mean, come on, look, let's not. Jalen Hurts just did a wonderful job. Jalen Hurts just played about as great a game as he can possibly play. But if you're asking, okay, we're going to redraft all the quarterbacks in the league, are you going to take him ahead of one of those 4 guys?
No,
you're not. So let's just be honest about it. And everybody, and you're falling into this trap, and I do too occasionally, of just because a player doesn't include a guy, well, he's dissing him, he's down on his guy, and he's got to be. It's like no, he's just being honest. That doesn't mean your guy sucks. It just means that he's not of the caliber of those guys, and it doesn't mean that he can't get to the caliber of those guys. Like that's where I just and I know what your job is.
Wait a minute. How does a media guy like you put me back in my football mentality and make me realize exactly what you just said is true? I mean, you're right. I get caught in these webs like that. Like if you were going to put an NFL draft together,
because it's every headline that we see. It's every single stupid headline, and it's every morning talk show that you have that has to have a hot take about, well, he says he's not the best. Like, whatever. So what? Jalen Hurts is not one of the top 4 quarterbacks in the NFL. I'll take him.
Yeah.
I'll take him.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're asking me if I have to choose between him and Lamar Jackson, I'm probably taking Lamar Jackson, right? Now, but if you're saying I don't get a choice between them and I got to take Jalen Hurts, I'm good, and I'll build a winner around him, like Howie has built a winner around him. And if you say to me something, oh, Jason, somebody told you that people in the locker room don't really like him. Yeah, that's true. I don't care. Like, are you productive? Right? I mean, as long as you're not a giant a-hole,
and you win.
Right. All that matters is you win games,
yeah.
Right? Like I'm willing. Again, we had this discussion last time. I'm willing to put up with a lot of stuff if a guy wins games. Jimmy was like that.
Oh, completely.
Jimmy,
I'm a great example of that. Are you crazy? He used to do this to me. You know what this is, Sills? This is called the Jimmy Johnson scale and the sliding scale. You perform right here, you get the opportunity to have this much bullshit. If you're down here performing and you give me this bullshit, we have a totem pole around here with Jimmy Johnson, and you're right here. Your ideas try to get up that totem pole. That's how he looked at players.
And that's how it is. That's Mark Clayton and Mark Duper. When I broke into the league, those guys couldn't have been bigger jerk balls. But when they could play, Don Shula put up with everything. Because it's like,
hey, Marino, Marino was a bit of an asshole himself, so I mean, they probably all worked together.
But like, who can throw a ball? Like,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what you need. So part of this is managing personalities, and again, sometimes I do understand locker rooms can get to a point where a guy can be poison in your locker room, but that poison happens when you're no longer winning. And he's a bad guy. Your boy Warren Sapp. If you're not winning, Warren Sapp is the worst guy you can have in your locker room. He's terrible in a locker room.
Even
but
if
when you're winning, he's good.
I'm going to correct you on that. He's an asshole if you're winning or losing.
But you tolerate it. You tolerate it when you're winning. When you're not winning anymore, it's like, look, clear him out, because I gotta have guys who fall in line and will do what I need to do. If you're winning, I'll fall in line with him. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, completely.
That's your Jimmy Johnson thing. I'll put up with your bullshit if I'm winning.
Absolutely, it's so true here. Have you ever seen a story like Zack Baun, where a guy last year was a 25th rated linebacker? He was a special teams guy in New Orleans. He turns out to be first team All-Pro. He gets the most votes of any linebacker at the All-Pro position in the league. He signs a $50 million contract, 17 a year. Have you ever seen anything like that? And I would make this comment to you. Are you concerned about it just being a one-year wonder kind of thing? Because in his 5 years in New Orleans, you mean to tell me Mickey Loomis and a guy like Dennis Allen, who's considered one of the better defensive coordinator guys. I mean, Brady had struggles with that New Orleans defense. I'm not saying he's a great head coach, but that guy knows defense. Are you concerned, though, that, that guy, I don't think he's ever
I am that you had the sort of magic
magic in a bottle.
All came together. And this is, again, I would be leaning on, what is Fangio telling me? What is Fangio telling me about how this guy fits into what we're trying to accomplish? And is he a good player to have when you have a defensive line that's keeping guys off of the linebackers, right? Because right now they have, it's the old Zach Thomas thing. And Zach Thomas was a great football player from day one. So I'm not trying to necessarily put these guys together. But Zach Thomas was not an overwhelmingly physical guy, which is why he was a 5th round pick. But if you put him in a Jimmy Johnson defense where you've got 4 defensive linemen in front of him who occupy space and keep offensive linemen off of him, he's a great player, right? And so Baum, I think, is like that. It's a lot of money to pay for it, but he's like that. And are you going to have something like that for the next 2-3 years going forward so that you're maximizing what you're doing with him? And so that's the, again, I don't generally like to pay linebackers.
Yeah.
And nobody.
And nor this is like the first one he's ever.
Yeah, but this is where I'm really leaning on, okay, Vic.
Yeah.
Tell me how this guy fits, and do I have to have him, or can I, move on? And I'm saving money with Cooper DeJean for a little while here, so I don't necessarily have to spend a corner.
And Quinion Mitchell.
Right, and I'm saving money over there, so I can pay a little bit of a premium to keep this linebacker. And so sometimes you do things that are not necessarily orthodox.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Let me take you one more Eagle question. I'm going to ask you some NFL questions here. So you just saw what Max Crosby got. He got, he got like $34 million a year now. Then you saw that there's even a contract that could be offered by the Browns if they can entice the guy to keep him in the room 3 years, $35 million. Next year, there's a chance that Jaylen Carter could be extended. It's the first opportunity for him at the end of the year. And you're looking at Chris Jones making $32 million. Are we looking at the first $40 million a year defensive tackle? Do you think the Eagles will play Jaylen Carter next year in an extension of a $40 million annual deal? Now, I know the cap it's going to probably be in the next year or so over $300 million.
Yeah.
I mean, are you going to pay that guy $40 million?
I wouldn't be scared to.
Wow.
Based on the math. I'm not worried about it from a math proposition. I'm worried more about, do I really think that Jaylen Carter has completely grown up and is not the guy who I saw at Georgia who was getting into stupid trouble, the guy whose mom was, too present, and the rookie who was a little bit up and down, good, really good, but up and down.
Last year he was great.
So my question is more about, what do I trust in the player? Well, how much do I trust this kid? Or am I going year to year with him on a franchise tag, saying, look, I'll pay the premium on the franchise tag to keep him around for a year.
You bring up a great point. You think there's still a little pause there with them about the characteristics?
Until the point at which I have to pay a guy, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Right. Because I don't have. Here's the thing: you may like everything that you see right now, but I don't have to make a decision on it right now. I can sit there and I can wait it out and say, okay, show me. Keep everything, going this path. I like where we're going, Jaylen. I like how serious you're taking the game. I like how this is going. Make me feel good about doing this, right? Don't give me any hesitation. Don't take plays off. Don't do things that are scatterbrain. Just keep it going this way. And then it becomes habit. And then it becomes part of his lifestyle. And then you feel comfortable paying a guy. But until I have to make that decision, I'm not making that decision. So, again, Philadelphia fans may come back and, oh, he's done nothing wrong. You're right. He hasn't. But I don't have to make my final decision yet for another year. So, just keep, it's a prove it to me thing. Keep proving to me that you deserve to get a $40 million. If I'm talking about putting out $36, $38, $40 million a year, I want to feel good about this. I want to feel like, hey, I'm totally on board. We're all good. That's how I look at it.
Couple last ones here for you. Let me throw this at you here. Watching Howie work this week, Howie Roseman of the Eagles, and then when I watch what's going on with Mike Brown, the owner of the Bengals. I mean, I'm surprised there's not parking meters in the players' parking lot. That guy's so cheap. I mean, then you turn around, you look at Haslam today making a comment that I don't want to meet him. He just thinks not meeting Myles Garrett, that situation's just going to go away, and it's not. I mean, Laurie sits down with his players. He talks with them. Howie goes in. They try to work to try to get some things done. I mean, it shows you the haves and haves not. Look at the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys are jacking around with missing Parsons, and you've got so many other holes on that football team. I mean, Jason, if you had to put a list,
what are you talking about holes? Jerry just said that they're good. They don't have to spend any money in free agency. They don't have any needs that need to be filled in free agency. Jerry told us that this week, didn't he? Wasn't that like the team is set? Like just roll them out, roll the bus up to Philly with the current Cowboys roster, and we are good to go, baby.
Can I ask you something? I know that there was a blue ribbon committee, but I'm assuming now it was a Pabst blue ribbon community that put some of these people. Where in the world do you think Jerry Jones is? Not you, because I don't think you do think he's a foot. That guy has not been a good football guy in 30 years.
Well, but he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
For what? Pom-pom waving?
Well, for his understanding of the economics of the game, for his understanding of how you do media.
So you put the best.
You didn't let me finish. Okay. He is the greatest executive producer of football soap opera in the history of the game. He helped turn this into a 24/7, 365. You have to watch our programming every freaking day to know what's going on.
I want to win.
He is the king of getting eyeballs on what you watch. And
Don't talk to me, smart Stanford guy. I know what you're doing here. You're giving me the overall picture of the guy.
But to me, that's part of the Hall of Fame. Like, again, when I was in the room, and I can just tell you this, because I said it. And I said it before I got in the room, and I said it to other people along the way, and nobody ever disagreed with me. In fact, when I said it to Bob Kraft, he laughed because he knew I was right. Jerry Jones is the P.T. Barnum of football. All right, I've said that to you before, and I will maintain that to my dying day. He knows how to put on a show. All right, and at the end of the day, you and I both know this crap is entertainment. Okay? It ain't real world. It's entertainment. And he is the entertainer's entertainer. And I love Jerry Jones because he talks all the time and gives you great quotes. I hate Jerry Jones if I had to work for him because he undermines his head coach. Because look, I can play this both ways, all right? And I understand both sides of this argument, okay? And that's why he belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He understands this is a show, and we're putting on a show for the people, and they want to watch me. They want to watch me. They want to watch the whole thing every day. And you should thank your lucky stars that you have Jerry Jones, because he's made you be able to have a 24/7, 365 football show. You don't have to talk about the Phillies. You don't have to talk about whether Bryson Stott can hit a fastball or not. You don't have to talk about whether Jose Alvarado can throw a strike. You don't have to figure out if Orion Kirkering is a better closer than Jose Romano, do you? Okay? Or you don't have to talk about any of that crap. You don't have to talk about Joel Embiid. You don't have to talk about the Flyers one single freaking time.
Oh,
you spend an entire year talking about the Eagles and football. Okay? So you know what? Get down on your knees and pray to Jerry Jones the way you should. There you go.
Holy shit. I hate when you're right. Makes me sick to my stomach. All right. Hey, if you had to pick, last one here, Joey Bosa, Jonathan Allen, if you're Philly, 1 year, prove it deals, what are you looking at? You nailed the Kirk Cousins deal. Do you think there's still value in those two players? I'll tell you what, the only problem I have with Bosa's health, but you could have said the same shit about Barkley in New York. My problem with Barkley in New York was health. Well, you go to a better team, better players around him. Vic Fangio, I don't know. Maybe that same magic works. He's a good player. And now you got Jonathan Allen, who is he's going to be released by the Commanders because of the money that he's making. And he's going to be a viable option. He's not a bad player. He's a really good football player.
So you're you're talking about starting at a base of probably $8 million and a bunch of incentives that it can get a guy to 15, right? If everything goes right. And maybe if it's a bidding war, it's 10 million as the base with a bunch of money that gets a guy to 15, right? Like that's, 1 year and just, and I say that saying, okay, they may announce the deal as 3 years and $58 billion and whatever it is. But it's really a 1 year deal with he gets $10 million basically to play, and here's some incentives that kick it up to this, right? And
right.
Those are numbers you can live with. For a pass rusher, for a closer, don't give me too much exposure, and then you're out after 1 year, or we rework the deal if you like being here, if you don't like being here, we rework the deal and see how it goes, right? But basically 1 year and somewhere in the 8 to 10 million range. Most teams have that kind of money sitting around for that kind of pass rush guy, and it's a choice for either one. I think Bosa really, based on I think it's not hard to read tea leaves. The mom wants him playing with his brother.
Yeah,
and frankly, they need him over on the other side, but they can probably do the same kind of thing, a 1-year deal, make it work, right? That kind of thing. But Philadelphia will be in there. Allen's out there. That's the kind of money you want to pay for those guys.
I like that, man, because that's doable here. Finally here. Give me another one of your magic wands here with this quarterback stuff. Brock Purdy, between 40 and 50. Land on a number for me.
Oh, I think it's north of 45. If you want me to land, just say a number. They're probably going to announce it at 50.
Is it more than Kyler Murray at 40? What is 46-1?
Yeah, Kyler's had his contract for a while, so you probably could get north of Kyler Murray on that one, but not as much fully guaranteed. What I would do with the kid, because especially after he had the arm injury at the end of the year, and his arm kind of freaked out on him in that one game, and they didn't play him in the final. I would say, look, I'll give you a fully guaranteed, pretty much 3-year deal. You're going to make $135-140 million, over that 3 years. Here it is, and that way, if it doesn't work, I can get out of the deal a little bit faster. But if it does work, we're back at the table again sooner. And if you become the player that you think you can become, okay, then you got me back at the table soon, and I got to go to 55 or maybe even by that time $60 million if everything comes together, and you're doing even better than you would have been. In the worst case, you're walking away after taxes with $60-70 million in the bank after this contract. You head back to Phoenix with your wife, and you never work again, right? Your life is set, right? Like if your arm collapses on me and the elbow breaks down again, in the worst case scenario after taxes, you're sitting on $70 million. Have a great day. Have a great life. We appreciate your participation, right? Like that's what you got to do with quarterback. That's the going rate.
I agree. Finally, Aaron Rodgers, New York Giants, Minnesota Vikings, San Francisco, or the Raiders?
I don't think where's the sweetest revenge for him? Because Giants. He's a guy. What?
Giants.
Well, Minnesota's pretty good. Minnesota's pretty good too. I just think Minnesota's got.
Oh, Minnesota, like Favre going against the Packers.
Right. You got a little bit of that, but I think he'd really like to, more to stick it up what he's doing. Yeah, because my favorite thing that Aaron Rodgers did, The Athletic posts that story, right, about all the chaos within the Jets, right? And one of the things that's part of the chaos is that Woody Johnson wants to be referred to as Ambassador Johnson, right? You read that, right?
Stick to selling Band-Aids. Go ahead.
Right. So here was my favorite part. Every time you heard Aaron Rodgers talk about Woody Johnson after that story came out, which told me everything about how much Aaron participated in that story, was he referred to him as, go ask Woody. Go ask Woody. You really need to talk to Woody.
Like the cartoon.
Oh, it was just like jab. Like he was just like, Ambassador Johnson. No, you're Woody. You're not even Mr. Johnson. You're Woody. Okay, you're Woody from Toy Story. Bam, bam, bam. Like that. That's what he was doing every single time. And I know he was doing it because I know Aaron well enough that he was doing that just to mess with Woody, which tells me that he would like nothing more than to go across, go drive a little bit north on the turnpike. You end up in East Rutherford. You end up with the Giants. And okay, I'll stick it to you. The problem is the team sucks. So do you really want to do that? Minnesota, I think they're going to either go McCarthy or they'll bring back Darnold.
Yeah.
Or both. They might bring back both. San Francisco, I think that, like he likes Purdy in San Francisco. So it comes down to, you want to do the Raiders? And I'll just say this. I don't think Tom Brady's really a big Aaron Rodgers guy.
No, he's not.
He's not. So, he might tolerate it for a couple of years if Pete says, "Hey, we got to have somebody."
Tennessee, then
he thought about it. He thought about it before.
Yeah.
He was really hoping that the Stafford thing was going to blow up in LA. That was never going to blow up. I mean, Stafford.
You were right.
Everybody's like, my favorite story of the week was, Stafford took less money to stay in LA. Yeah, because his wife didn't want to move.
No,
like they're 37. They got how many kids? Like
no, you were dead on that. You were dead on.
Yeah, I'm not. Like, of course we're taking less money because I'm not packing up the house.
Yeah.
You can go live in whatever town if you really want to go do that. I'm not leaving. Okay, I'm near the beach. This is cool. Let's go. Like she did her time in Detroit. She's not going back to another bad weather city. Come on.
She did her time in Detroit.
She did. You know what I'm saying, right? Like you took two blonde, good-looking blonde woman and a good-looking blonde dude. You stuck them in Detroit for 10, 12 years, and then it's like they came to L.A., and they get to go to Malibu for lunch during the offseason. Where do you think they're moving to? Nowhere.
Moving to Jason Cole's Los Angeles, where nobody truly cares about pro football. All they care about is the beach, surfing.
Hey, we've been caring about pro football for decades. That's why we had the USC Trojans, the original pro football team of LA.
That's the 33rd team in the NFL for sure. Is the USC?
Well, when they were good, they were getting paid like it.
Let me ask you this: when the Raiders were in town and the Rams were in town, if you had USC tickets back when they were all in town, Raiders, Rams, USC, what would fans grab?
It's USC. USC had all. Look, I grew
the alumni.
up. It's the alumni. Everybody from Orange County drives up. All the white people from Orange County drive up to go watch USC games. Right? I mean, seriously, all the people with their weekend Winnebagos. The white people from the OC. Because they're all Trojans down there, right? Like, come on. So yeah, I mean, USC.
That's a Stanford guy talking. That's why it's like what he's doing here.
Hey, I got some Aaron Rodgers to me. There you go.
I have never, ever heard a Stanford guy talk praise or give praise to two schools, UCLA.
No. UCLA I love. UCLA, I grew up on UCLA basketball, okay? And my mom's a UCLA grad, so I love UCLA. But USC is the evil empire, okay? And let me just put it to you this way. It's not just Stanford. It's and Damon Ewart and I were talking in front of Junior Seau one time. Rest in peace, Junior. Okay, but we were in the Dolphins locker room, and and Junior's doing his usual like USC, we're the greatest thing since sliced bread and all that kind of crap. And I'm like, I look at Damon, Washington guy, and I just say in front of Junior, I go, Damon, you guys hate Washington State, right? Up there. He goes, yeah. He goes, that's your rival, right? And I go, yeah, Cal's our rival. We hate them. I go, but don't we all hate SC more than even our biggest rivals? He goes, damn right. Everybody, the entire conference hated USC.
I got to tell you one last story here about that. So when I was on KMBR, and I think Mariucci was at Cal.
Yeah.
And I forget, maybe Walsh had gone back to Stanford. Oh, no, I know. It was Ty Willingham. Ty Willingham was the head coach at Stanford at the time. Hey, by the way, I forgot to tell you this. I worked sideline for 3 years for Stanford Cardinal football with Bob Murphy and with the Murph Meister. And Plunkett was the color guy, and I was the sideline guy. It was one of the coolest things. I really loved Tyrone Willingham. Well, anyway, folks, you got to understand this rivalry. When you walk in, the first thing they check is your grade point average when you go to this game. Okay? I mean, if you don't have a 4.7 going into that game, guy like me, I had to have a press pass because I could never get it. I mean, there were guys that were like lawyers and guys that were senators and congressmen, and I walked in there, I was like,
let's just say this. The tailgaters are a little different than the Stanford Cal game.
Yeah, those guys are drinking cake bread Merlot in the parking lot. And I'm like, what the
Yeah, it's not your normal football environment, which is part of the bad part of it, but also part of the interesting part of it. But yeah,
Jason,
exactly.
as usual, it's an absolutely sensational conversation. Thank you so much, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Give thanks to Jerry. See ya.
Thank you so much, Jason Cole, our great friend, man. We love him so much. Make sure you guys check his workout. Please hit the like button. Holy cow, look at all my warriors now on the – listen to this one guy here. Why would social justice warrior take work from a company that employed a racist? You become a racist all of a sudden when Mike got into a contract dispute. Thank you, guys. Thank you. You guys are murdering this guy right now. John Morgan and everybody else, too. Hey, man, Xander's going to be at the bottom of the hour. And I got to tell you right now, JAKIB family and JAKIB viewers, you got Big Sil's back. I owe you. In my 38 years, I've never had people get my back. Kudos. It's unbelievable. Usually, you should have seen it in San Diego. Even though I had massive ratings, the entire place hated me because of the way I was or am or whatever. Really great. I mean, Mike Missinelli's getting destroyed right now. Yeah. Oh, but on. Hey, Denny, fuck you too. I love you. Oh, man, there is no place like Philly, man. It's like, I would like to click my heels and say 3 times there's no place like Philly, but I'm starting to think it's true, and Angelo was right yesterday. Oh, I can't wait to post this video clip of Angelo, too. That'll really send it home, too. And I'm going to tag John on it when we get this video clip here. Do me a favor, hit the like button. And speaking of John Morgan, yep, John Morgan has this show's back big time, and he will get your back as well. I've known John for over 25 years, and he has the #1 injury law firm in the United States. Make no mistake about it. He's out there protecting people when people do stupid stuff all the time, and they do stupid stuff all the time. This is what John Morgan does. He goes after folks. They've got a resume that's second to none here, $20 billion in recovery. Okay, that's their track record. I told you about the folks in Pennsylvania. Right here in PA, family was initially awarded $650K. John went in there with his team of attorneys and got $26 million for that family. Or a family in Florida, $350K, an initial insurance offer came in for a settlement. No way. Morgan & Morgan went in and got $12 million in a settlement. Listen, life is hard. Decisions are hard. This will be the easiest decision you ever make. The fee is free unless they win. For more information, please check my friends out. forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's FOR, thepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sil sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills National Football Show. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Bottom of the hour, we will have our friend Xander Krauss on. Xander, I missed our good friend here. He threw a super chat at us, and I want to make sure we get it here. This $9.99 one here. Thank you, Q. You're the only sports talk show I go out of my way to watch. I'll watch clips of other shows here and there on certain topics, but I'm here for all Sills topics. Make sure you give thanks to Jera. I hated that, but he's kind of right. Q. Think about what Q just said there, what you guys have to do for me. Okay? You accidentally find people on the radio. This is what you got to do. You got to turn your computer on. This is what we do every day to some of you, and I respect it. You got to turn your computer on. You've got to type in JAKIB Sports. Then you've got to hit the page. Then you got to find my show. Those steps before in radio, all you got to do is turn your radio on, scan through it. You might find me. There's 2 steps. You got to make 6 or 7 steps to find me. Okay? So I know that. Okay? Sue, your time's not free. I value it. Nobody's time's free. What's the one thing in the world you can't get back? You can always make money back. You know what you can't make? Can't have time back. It's a revolving door, and it's like sand going through the hourglass. It never gets turned back the other way. You lose time. Time's the most expensive thing you can have. Steve Jobs. Hit the like button here. Hey, real quick, did you guys see that video of Cooper DeJean taking shots in Phoenix? I mean, could that guy have been an NBA dude? I saw his highlight reel when he was in Iowa. Did you see how good that dude was in Iowa basketball? I think he scored like 28 a night. I'm watching this guy make Steph Curry shots. I mean, this guy was balling. I mean, he's taking half-court Steph shots. I'm like, holy shit, man. You talk about a guy who might be the best athlete next to Jordan Mailata on that Eagle team. He just might be that dude. Yeah, I'm going to start calling him Cooper Curry. I like that. I mean, yeah, I think, hey, Yale, the only reason I think he didn't play in the NBA is because he's 6 feet. Because that guy is some athlete. He's a better athlete than Quinyon Mitchell. I'll make this prediction, and I did a year ago, and I'll continue to say this. I think Cooper DeJean's going to have a better career than Quinyon Mitchell. I know Q plays a tougher position. I get it. But I think that guy's going to have a better football career. There's going to be more all-pro seasons with DeJean than with Q. Now, it's a tougher competition playing the corner and the numbers. I'm not saying that, but when you look at resumes at the end of the day, and by the way, you'll figure out who had a bigger impact on the team. Will it be DeJean? All I know is this. When you put that guy in the starting lineup, the defense was completely changed. Okay? I mean, it completely was changed. Hit the like. Guys, give me a total on the likes now. Real quick before I get to Dallas Goedert here. I saw LeBron James confronting Stephen A. Smith. And LeBron James confronted him about the shit that Stephen A. Smith was talking about his kid. His kid sucks. There's no getting around it. And you open yourself up for that. Because your kid sucks, you got him a job. But then now I'm going to play dad. If somebody's talking shit on my kid, I'm not tolerating that either. What LeBron doesn't understand, he is such a major star that he's vulnerable now because it's not just about him anymore. You know, I don't give a shit about, here, I'll give you a great example about my kid and even my wife. You know, I got a vanity plate on my Hummer. We park it behind a fence. You know why? We don't want anybody knowing where I live, and they don't want anybody knowing that that's my truck because of some of the things like you see here with Mike Missinelli in Philly on how people, and look at the hate that guy's trying to bring on me and my family. That shouldn't be passed down to my kid and my wife. But it is. Okay? That's your dad? Yeah. As accomplished of all the things I've done some things where people look the other way too and go, hey, you become vulnerable with that. You open yourself up for that shit. And I don't want that on them. Okay, I don't. So I get that end. But dude, you open yourself up for that. Talking shit to a media guy? LeBron, your kid sucks. That's what it is. Okay, I get it. You know, I do. I totally get both sides of this. But, I mean, that's just not a good look for you, Junior. All right. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Guys have been great. All supers will go to the top. You know what? I'm glad here we didn't get to the Goddard thing because I'm going to get to it again here. There's a report going by wait a minute. I got to make sure the email that Xander sent me and the fucked up call he gave me one time. Sills, you didn't quote it with Jeff McClain. And I got to put it in quotes that there could be a shot that they may release him. He may not be on the team. All right. So let's get to our boy. By the way, they're doing a great job there. John McMullen, man, I tell you, boy, Xander, man, going back and forth with him, man, that's entertainment. It's absolutely entertaining because I can see on Xander's face, he just starts doing this. Yeah, he just starts doing this. And by the way, let's bring him in. He's wearing a hurricane hat right now, and I absolutely love it. Hit that like button. We bring in from Birds 365, Big Z, Xander Krauss. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, Big Cells? How you
Look at
living,
you,
brother?
man. Look at you
Yeah,
all.
I'm not in my main studio, I obviously, but
Look at you, man. You're all hurricane colored out here. I dig it, man.
yeah, you know, I heard you on the show a little earlier today talking about the clip I'm supposed to get for you. Well, where's my hurricane gear? You told me this months ago. Where's my hurricane gear? I would rock the hurricane. I told everybody because I love Big Sill so much, and because JAKIB stands with Big Sills, I will be a fan of the Miami Hurricanes. They're not in the SEC. I don't have any issue rooting on the Miami Hurricanes, so I'm waiting on some of the Miami Hurricane merch to come in, brother.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. As soon as the program's over, instead of wasting my time on certain folks, what I'm going to do is I'm going actually at Mario Cristobal, and I'm going to make sure that you and him are in touch with one another so that they make sure that the equipment manager guy, and I'm going to at him as well, that we get gear up to Big Z up there so that we can get this stuff going here. Speaking of that, Big Z, I heard you talking this morning, and I'll ask you again. The reports by McLean, who I actually like his work. How about this, man? Would you be shocked if they cut him?
I think that'd be crazy, but the only way I think they would do that is if they have a good contingency. Like, so, because I was saying this earlier, and I get some of the people who are like, I'm ready to move on from Goddard. Like, he gets hurt a lot, and he's 30 now. I understand that, but like we have a Super Bowl window, and for the same reason, people will say, well, you should trade Nolan Smith or Cooper DeJean or Devontae Smith or whoever, insert whatever name you want to get a guy like Myles Garrett because the window is now. Well, the same thing applies to a tight end. If I can't get better at that position, now, unless it's a numbers crunch and they literally have to move on from him because they need that salary cap, which, by the way, I don't think it's that. Unless it's that, I don't see why you would want to get worse at the tight end position right now with the window in front of you and everything's in front of this football team. So now, look, maybe Howie has a contingency. Maybe there's some plan in place that, they have for Dallas Goedert where it would be better. But, obviously, even just looking right now, all right, there's a guy like Michael Mayer out there. All right, that's not a bad option. A 24-year-old, young guy coming out of Las Vegas. I don't hate that option. All right. Then you have the NFL draft. And, let's be real, Sills, the tight end position is one of the positions in football that's changed more than maybe any other position. Tight ends today are glorified receivers. We don't need a glorified receiver in this offense. We need a guy that can put a body on somebody, block, and catch the 3, 4, 5 passes that they might get a game. That's not that easy to get. And if you're telling me to go to the draft, all right, I like it, but I can almost say with certainty, not 100% certainty, but 95%, that guy's not going to be as good as Goddard would be next year. He's just not, so I don't like the idea of it just because I don't see a contingency right now in the room. Maybe they would go and get one, but I have a hard time believing they would move on from Dallas Goedert right now. I would extend him, Sills. I said that earlier today on the show. I'd extend him, kick that can down the road on the cap, give him a signing bonus up front. You know how we can spread out that cap hits, draft a tight end in round 3 this year, and now your team looks good. You have continuity, and you have a replacement plan for the future when ultimately it does end with Dallas Goedert.
If Tyler Warren falls, which I don't think he will, say he gets to 15 or something like that, you think Howie would make a run at him and take him in the first? Would he do? Hey, look, I think everything with this guy is now officially on the table after I saw a running back and linebacker get a brand new contract. I think that guy's willing to do anything to keep that team in a position where and again, do I think that guy fall? I think it's all going to be dictated on what quarterbacks go and where they go and these edge rushers. I think there's about 5 or 6 good edge rushers that you could see in the top 15 picks. And say that kid from Ole Miss gets in the conversation about getting into the first round. Xander, I've seen more shitty quarterbacks drafted in the first round. Yeah. I mean, Brandon Weeden was drafted in the first round. The guy was totally terrible, man. Yeah. I mean, so I think if that guy is somewhere down there, do you think he'd make a run at him?
Hard to say you wouldn't. I mean, that's the one tight end in the draft. I think that would be, but here's the other problem is I think, and we've talked, I think we've really broken down well this offseason about how this team is built in terms of all that money that goes on the offense. And the reason it works right now is because how we drafted so well on defense. So I do look at that and I'm like, all right, Warren would be great, but I'm giving up that first round pick to go obviously move up. I'm probably going to have to give up a second round pick? Maybe a third round pick
to get up there. Yeah.
By the way, I don't even know if 32 and 64 is enough to get you into the top 15 or top 20. It might not be.
Correct.
It might not be. So now you're looking at multiple assets in that draft on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know if the team is ready for that. Now, I like your idea because I do think Tyler Warren is the one guy that might make you think about it. But the one thing with him too is, and I really like the player, don't get me wrong, but I'm not so. I think people are putting the cart before the horse with him, and they got the Brock Bowers in their mind right now. I think he's a really good player. I think Tyler Warren is going to be an exceptional tight end in the NFL. I'm not sold that he's going to be a year one impact like Brock Bowers had, or really anything close. I think he's got some things to get better at. He's a little tight in the hips. I don't know how good he's going to be in the blocking game in a team like this. So I don't think I would do it. Even if he fell to, where are you thinking? 15 he falls to?
15.
18?
I think anything outside of 15 is stupid talk.
Yeah, okay. I really like him. I don't want people to think I don't like Tyler. I do like Tyler Warren, but I don't think they would send the assets to go up and get him. I really don't.
Boy, after knowing and seeing what happened with Brock Bowers last year, he was the 13th pick in the draft. That guy had the best tight end in the history of the National Football League with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell as his quarterback. I mean, talking about shitty QBs. All right, how about this? What Jason Cole said: 1 year, $8 million. Jonathan Allen, how you doing? You ready?
1 year, $8 million. I like that.
And then this is how you pitch it to him.
1 year, $8 million. I can work with that.
How about this? This is how you pitch it to him. Listen here, man. You're in the division. You're home in the NFC East. You don't have to really drive but a couple hours down to Philadelphia. On top of that, here's what we do for you. Did you not see what Barkley did? Did you not see what Baun did? Did you not see what potentially we did with Becton? I think they're going to. You come to Philadelphia here. We reward people who go out and perform. Can you imagine Jonathan Allen, and there's your help. You would have Jonathan Allen. This is your D-line. Nolan Smith, Carter, Jonathan Allen, and you would probably have to draft a kid, whoever that is. That's your front four. There's your help on double teams with Allen.
Dude.
Sitting next to him. And he's 28.
If you had Jonathan Allen next to Jaylen Carter, that would be nasty. That would be straight up nasty. Now, I'm a Bama guy. I love him. Obviously, he was incredible.
Howie loves them SEC boys, too.
I know, but Jonathan Allen is a damn good player. So I love that. I mean, if you're telling me it's 1 year, $8 million, see, I was thinking he was going to be more than that.
No, wait, you're Jason. No, he thinks 1 year, $8 million, $9 million bucks. I think that's doable.
Now, it's a short-term plan for the Eagles. They'll probably still draft a defensive tackle.
That's why it's 1 year.
Right. 1 year, 2 years. I mean, he's an older guy. I think he's 30 now, Jonathan Allen. But, boy, that would be really good, man. That would, you know what else that would do? That would make Jordan Davis a better player, too.
Oh,
that would make Jordan Davis better. It would open up things for edge rushers. Oh, my God. Baun would.
Baun better?
Baun would. Oh, my goodness. That would be a crazy front. Boy, if it's $8 million, you got to think Howie's interested in that. By the way, he is Jonathan Allen. You guys remember a couple of years ago, he was upset with the Commanders organization because he was tired of losing. And that's a guy that I think has the right mentality that you want in your locker room too. So I think he would fit in super well. Obviously, his championship DNA from his days in college. I like it. I think that'd be really good. But yeah, Steve does bring up a good point. He's struggled with injuries in his career. He has certainly struggled with injuries in his career. But Steve, the one thing I struggle with on the injury stuff is, like Sil said it yesterday, Saquon Barkley struggled with injuries before here. You can never legislate them, so I try not to factor them too much into decisions like this, but I understand where you're coming from with that. But we'll see. I do think that'd be a pretty good defensive line, no?
Oh my God, it would be insane. All right. The Slay stuff. I'm not on his side with this. The Hurts shit about even if you believe that, why are you doing that 4 weeks after the Super Bowl?
That was my point, yeah.
Why are you going there with that? Even if you don't believe that, why are you publicly saying that on a Cowboy podcast? And what are you trying to actually do? Then the backhanded slaps towards Gardner. I mean, do you agree with me? I think that guy is a front-running fucking leader. And when shit's bad, what is the first thing he does? He does this shit. Hey, I'm playing great. It ain't me. And I don't know, man. I know a lot of people like him. And you know what winning does? It hides low character. Because I gauge people on character when shit's hitting the fan and when adversity hits. Not when you're running high on the hog like that. I mean, I'll tell you one thing I've done this week. This week, I've given Howie more credit and I've given him more praise, and I have thought lesser of Darius Slay this week on how he's been butthurt on being released. Am I wrong?
I agree with everything you said up until that last point. I will not allow this to let me think lesser of Slay because he said something on a podcast. Now, a lot of things can be true. A lot of things can be true with this. All right. Darius Slay has clearly proven to us time and time again that he values more than we would like him to value going on podcasts, talking to people. He likes that stuff. For whatever reason, maybe he wants a career in media. Maybe he likes it. Maybe he wants to be friends with Michael Parsons and all these guys. He values that more than we do as people. I've known that. I'm not surprised that he went on and said that. Where I do agree with you is, why talk about teammates? Just wait until you're done. Wait until you're done to have those conversations. What are you doing that now for? But I do think there's also an overreaction too. And I'm not mad at CJ either. Like, I don't dislike either of these players because of this. I view it as prideful guys. CJ Gardner-Johnson, let's be real, for all the good he is on this team, he's very emotional. He's very erratic. That's part of what makes him a great player. So again, I'm not one of the people that says, CJ, don't be CJ. No, you can be CJ. I'm cool with you being CJ, but I'm going to take it at face value. You overreacted a little bit because, as John pointed out to me on the show this morning, Vic Fangio, Vic Fangio, the leader of the defense, said publicly on a press conference a couple months ago that Reed Blankenship is the leader of our secondary. He is the guy that talks and does the communication on the secondary. I think Slay, I don't think he meant it as a slight at CJ. I don't think he was even thinking CJ. I think he was like, Reed's the guy that speaks on the field. When you talk about a 35-year-old guy hanging him up or moving on, the next communicator is going to be Reed Blankenship. I don't think it was a shot at CJ Gardner-Johnson. But again, I'm not mad at CJ. That's the kind of stuff that gets him going. That's the kind of stuff he's thrived on in his career. So I'm not mad at Slay. I'm not mad at CJ Gardner-Johnson. The one thing I would say about Slay is I wish he would shut up a little bit more. You just talk. You're like Sileo. You're like me. You talk too much, bro. You're a professional, but I get it. I mean, it's all good. I'm not mad at either of them. I will say the Slay thing, though, Slay is a little not my favorite type of guy, but I have no issue with him.
This is why and you know what? And to tie this all up, what you just said, I don't really give a shit on March 7th. You just come off a Super Bowl win. Yeah, right. I don't really give a shit about that because come September 8th, let's go, bro. I mean, let's go back and get it in there and go do it again. Hey, you want to be divas in the offseason? You want to do your podcasting? You want to build your brand? That's when you actually do it. It's in the offseason and not during the season like that idiot in Dallas missing Parsons. That guy I have a problem with. But if you want to do this now, and look, like I said, you know where you get the equity? You won. So I'm going to always do this. Listen, especially a guy comes from the greatest shit-talking program in the history of college football. I mean, I get it, and I'm with him. As long as you perform, I'm going to give you that sliding scale too. Hey, you give me all pro years, you can talk all the bullshit you want. Same thing with Owens and or A.J. Brown and all that bullshit. Right. I'm all good with that as long as you go out there and produce. What about A.J. making those comments that he thinks, and I'll use a Sileoism here, he thinks the Eagle, community is a little bit, fucked up the way he talks. I mean, what'd you think of that?
And I'm an A.J. Brown guy. Yo, AJ, this was one you could have just stayed on the sideline. By the way, you're talking about the Eagle community. And by the way, I'm an Eagle fan. I'm the first person to admit people of Philadelphia sometimes wear their emotions on their sleeve a little too much. All right. I understand that. But AJ, just stay on what are you chiming in? And by the way, why is this Eagles community? Darius Slay, who's a member of the team, said something. Another member of the team responded to what he said. And then we reacted to what those guys said. Why does that make the Eagles community messy? I mean, I'm sorry. AJ, this is one, just hang the phone up and start playing Madden again. This is not something you needed to chime in on. And of course, like typical AJ Brown fashion, and again, I'm not mad at him for it, but He's just like us. The dude wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's shown us every range of emotion in the world since he's been here. And then 5 minutes later, what happens? He deletes all the tweets again because Big Dom sends him a text and says, yo, dude, shut the fuck up and stay out of it. It's like, AJ, stay on the sideline on this. What are you talking about? The Eagles community is messy. There's plenty of moments that we look like a messy community. All right. This one, I mean, what are we doing here, AJ? You just won a Super Bowl and you're chiming in and saying the fan base sucks. There was 2 million people on Broad Street cheering you on. I mean, come on, man. The most amount of merch ever sold after a Super Bowl championship came from those fans. Shut up, AJ. I love you, AJ. I don't want you traded. I'm not like a lot of other people. I don't think you're a diva, but please shut up.
Hey,
good night.
Who told you that Big Dom sent him that text? Take that shit down.
I know that's how the organization works.
Okay, because
yeah, I know from all many of the people we've had in the past that Big Dom is the guy that he does all that.
I was told to keep that quiet from a friend of mine there. I was just
Well, I mean, some people, I mean, I don't care. I don't need to keep anything quiet. Nobody asked me to keep anything off the record. Big Dom is the guy who facilitates all of those things. When something happens in the locker room, the first person dealing with it is Big Dom. It's not Bob Lang. Bob Lang.
Do you know who made the call? It was Lori.
Yeah, Lori probably, and then he gets Big Dom to handle it. Big Dom and Big Dom is very good at it.
It's not Bob Lang that does that. Bob
Lang's more outward. Yeah,
Bob cares more about
the public
media and all that. Yeah. So from what I'm told, how it works is that Lori gets a wind of it, and he's like on top of all this stuff for whatever reason. Then Dom's like his hitman. He's like his Luca Brasi.
Remember, Lurie's super in love, very infatuated with the way people talk about him and talk about the organization. Yeah, and I think that's okay, by the way. I don't think that's a bad thing. No. He owns a team and he's a prideful man and he cares what people have to say. Now, maybe he goes a little too far sometimes, but I don't think it's a big deal. Now that we're talking about this too, and I was thinking about this earlier, you know what else has made me kind of appreciate this year? Appreciate two guys, all right? Because you see the way Slay and Gardner Johnson, and by the way, it's clear this isn't new. I mean, it's clear these guys aren't the bestest of friends. Remember what happened earlier in the year? They had a little bit of a spat as well on a podcast. I mean, this doesn't just come out of the blue, everybody. Slay and CJ Gardner Johnson are probably not the best of buds in the locker room, but it gives me a lot of respect for Vic Fangio because he is the perfect, if you think about his mentality and his approach and the way he handles things, he is the perfect coordinator to handle the personalities on this defensive side of the ball, right? Where he's got that no bullshit approach. He doesn't care about any of the optics. He's going to tell you what he wants from you. He's going to coach you up for that thing, and all the bullshit, save it for somebody else, right? I think that's the perfect old school approach for this specific player. CJ Gardner Johnson, Slay, who's a little bit of a chatty Cathy, stuff like that. So I appreciate him. And the other guy I appreciate is Nick Sirianni because he's been the leader of this ship. And there's been many moments where we have talked about some of the drama inside the Eagles locker room. And this team just pranced their way to a Super Bowl in dominant fashion. And, they did it as a team, as a unit, and played together the whole time, whether anybody disliked each other or not. So Nick Sirianni deserves a little bit of credit, I think, for that. And I think he's done a really good job at it. So Vic and Nick, I'm going to give a little credit for this one. By the way, let me just also tell my fans, the great people of JAKIB Nation, don't get your panties in a bind. We talked about this all for the last 3 years. People tweeting and people fighting and podcasting. We won the Super Bowl last year. Okay, it's fun off-season conversation. It doesn't matter. Let's go win football games. Let's build a great football team. Let's play on Sunday at our best. Let's optimize who we are as a defense and as an offense, and let's build from there. None of this shit matters. Come on.
Listen, like I said, that shit matters when you lose.
Exactly.
When you win, it doesn't matter because you've built the equity up to be a tool. As long as you win, it's all good. I mean, at the end of the day, so I just realized
that, though. It's fun. It is fun, isn't it?
It is. I'll tell you, what I do realize now is that Big Dom is like call Saul in Breaking Bad. Just call Saul, man. Hey, get that shit done. Get that thing taken care of down there.
Big Dom is no joke. By the way, I met Big Dom. I have a picture with Big Dom. I got to find that. Maybe show it on the show.
How tall is he?
He's a big boy. He's a big dude.
Okay, good.
He's it's not about the tall. I think he's a towering presence. He's a cool dude, though. You can tell why.
Paisan.
You can tell why he's managed so many people, though, successfully. Think about it. He's been here for 25 years, Sileo.
Yeah,
He's probably managed thousands of players. By the way, he's the one who manages a lot of the family stuff with them. He manages so much stuff. So you can tell, though, why it works, because he's a very personable guy. No soft dead fish handshake there from Big Dom. So he was pretty cool stuff. I liked me. He was cool to meet, but yeah, cool dude.
Jags just released Evan Ingram. Would you be interested in that?
No.
Why?
Have you ever seen the guy block?
No.
He's not even that. One, he's a receiving tight end, and he's not even that good at receiving. And the other time, when you line him up as a tight end to block, he won't put a body. He's like a girl. He is like holding tissue paper. No, we don't need a guy like that. That's one thing I like about Goddard. He might take injuries, but that dude is physical. That dude is not afraid to get hit and to hit. So I don't want Evan Ingram. No way. Don't talk to me about him. Michael Mayer, I'll consider. A couple others, but I'm out on Evan Ingram. No.
How about this one? So Monday's Bullshit Monday. That's what we're going to dub it here on the Big Sales Show here on Monday, because that's supposedly tampering, official, non-tampering, tampering something, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, people have been tampering now. What are you, high?
Like nobody's talking now.
Isn't that funny? That every time you see that, when the free agency comes, when it's 12:01, 88 deals are done. Yeah. What do you think they got that done right there in 1 minute? That's not what it works and how it works. So,
dude, how much NFL news has happened this week? You don't think people are having conversations? Come on.
Oh, so like, look, when you call an agent, when an agent and a team get together, Jonathan Allen is being released. Do you know what the guy's doing? The guy's telling him, he goes, "Hey, listen, man, if he clears waivers, we'd like to have maybe another shot, just at a lower number here. So what are you thinking? Hey, how many teams do you think are out there interested in him?" Well, I got 5 teams right now that would be interested in. That's how that shit goes on.
Yeah.
He's not going to tell you what 5 teams, but Allen's not going to be without a job 3 days after free agency starts on March 12th. He'll have a deal. He'll be, my opinion, he'll be a first day and maybe even Boza, a first or second day sign. Those two guys to be a first or second day sign. What do you think Howie's next move? What do you think his next move is?
Well, here, it's a good question, because there's a lot. That's why I love the offseason.
I kept saying this about you today. I kept going, Xander's been spending all day going, refresh.
I have. But here's the other thing, I was thinking about this as well. We've talked a lot about big trades. We've talked about we've talked about Myles Garrett. We've talked about, Trey Hendrickson. Apparently the asking price for him is a late second rounder. I don't think that's crazy at all, but
it's a deal. It's a deal like Brian Burns.
Yeah. Right. I think the Eagles are in a serious position of power right now, because, and I'm specifically talking about the Myles Garrett trade, but I think it bleeds over into other things as well in the offseason. You know how it gets. When teams and GMs and coaches lose in the NFL, they get desperate. They get desperate very quick, because they have to win or they're done. All right. So I think if you're the Eagles coming off a Super Bowl, your roster's largely intact. You have cap space. You have everything is at your disposal. I think you're going to have teams overpaying like crazy for free agents next week. I think you're going to have teams over trading for guys like Trey Hendrickson and I'm not saying Trey's not a great player, and there's Myles Garrett, who can't get a meeting with the owner. They won't trade him, and now he's threatening sitting out. So the longer that saga goes on in Cleveland, I think the more it helps a team like the Eagles, because every other team in the league that's desperate is going to be, get rid of the asset, go draft this player, trade for this guy, sign this free agent, do that. And the Eagles can quietly wait in the weeds, wait for some of the stuff to work itself out. The asking price is probably going to creep down as teams fall out of the mix in terms of trading and paying Myles Garrett. And I think the Eagles could be the last team standing right there if they're patient with it. So I do think you're in a good position in that regard. In terms of next move, I was going to say Becton, and that's what I honestly feel. But, I've been thinking about Tyler Steen, and I'm not saying Steen's as good as Becton or is even the same player, but
I think the next move's Burks.
No, they're not going to pay it to, dude. They're not. What you said yesterday is more likely. Draft a linebacker. Because they need to be cost effective.
You really think that guy's You think that guy's a $5 million a year ball player?
Who? Warren Burks?
Yeah.
I think there's dumb teams in the league that watch them play well in the Super Bowl and have trash cans at linebacker and are probably willing to give him the gig.
I'd give him what Baun made last year, 3.5. I'd up him. Dude, he's making $900,000 now.
Yeah, I would do it.
Up to 6. I'm
I
not
would
saying
do it.
Eagles will.
You understand where I'm coming from, though, right?
I do. No, you're not
just
wrong.
gave the biggest linebacker contract they've given, maybe since I've been alive. All right, so I don't think they're going to invest crazy more assets at that in terms of money. I think they're maxed out at what they want to spend on linebackers. So I don't think they're going to sign him back. Honestly, I feel like they're going to elevate Trotter as the backup. And they maybe will use another draft pick on a guy. Another guy they seemingly really like in the room is Ben Van Sumeren, who they've been kind of developing. And I like him from an athleticism standpoint. I don't know about what he can do in terms of an every down player in the league, but probably nothing, to be honest with you. But I don't see it. I don't see him signing Oren Burks. And the Becton thing, which is why I said that, is, I think you sign Saquon, and it makes you want to double down on Becton, right? Because he's the great run blocker. He's that big force that helped open up. I mean, how many holes? Let's be real. Saquon had what, 7 60-plus yard touchdowns? I think 3 of them were right up the hole behind Mekhi Becton, for crying out loud. So, with Landon Dickerson pulling over, but I think he's a priority. I just wonder if they're like, hey, we spent a 3rd-round pick on Tyler Steen, man. He's going into year 3. Like, let's get him into the action. I don't know. I could see that. So, I think you're in a good spot with this Eagles team in terms of what the next move is. I think the fact that it's not obvious shows you that the Eagles are in a good spot. Before Baun, it was, we got to get Zack Baun, right? So they got that done, and I think you're in a good position right now, but we'll see what they end up doing next. Could be interesting to see. Hey, maybe it's Dallas Goedert.
He has no money owed to him except the contract. If you extend him, you're talking about freeing up cap. Remember, every time you see someone extended in Philly, it's all – John's right about this. He may not be right about Ben Van McMullen, but, I know he loves Ben Van McMullen there.
You got to be kidding me.
Hey, but at the end of the day, he's not wrong. Every time there's an ends to a mean there when they extend people, okay? It's all about cap space there. So if you gave Goddard, like you said, maybe you give Goddard a 2-year deal, dude. 2-year deal. I'm not wrong with that. My problem is that a $15 million a year guy?
Who, Becton?
No. Goddard. Is he a 15?
Oh, Goddard. Oh, yeah. Mm.
Now, you brought a spectacular point up today. Again, keep hammering him. Who had the most receptions in the postseason? Okay, well, that showed you one thing that you're right on. It's a luxury that they had, and it's a security blanket for us to have. Is that worth having him out there, or some dude who you couldn't, if he had a pail in his hand, catch a football and Grant Calcaterra? Yeah. Or would you rather have that, or would you rather have a guy you're paying that kind of money to who's got exceptional hands? And by the way, I've always said this about him. I think that guy's got a better nose for the end zone than what even Zach Ertz ever had.
Well, yeah. Well, he's certainly more athletic than Ertz. I mean, if he did stay on the field, Goddard would be, he would be. I mean, I think John said today, it's between him and Devontae Smith as most playoff yards in Eagles history, which is crazy to think about. I mean, just that's wild. But football's a game of inches. Everybody says, oh, you can move on from Goddard and your offense is good enough. Well, it is, but Lamar thought he had a good offense last year. It was just short. Josh Allen thought his offense was good enough. It was just short. Like, maybe that extra thing that you have with Goddard, that was the reason that he was the highest or had the most yards in the playoffs. Like, maybe those are the things that I think we shouldn't think twice about, and maybe those are more worth it than we think, where if AJ doesn't play well here, we have this option. If Goddard doesn't play well here, we have this option. If Saquon doesn't play well here, we have these options. Just because you have an abundance of it doesn't make me want to just get rid of it. I think I'd rather keep Goddard in the room, but to answer your question about $15 million, I think that's probably a little steep. I mean, that feels big, but look, he is a good tight end. I mean, you're probably not going to find anybody in the open market that's as good as him.
Absolutely not. Couple last ones here for you. We'll read some super chats. Guys, please put them up. We'll have them at the end of this segment. Please hit the like button here too. I heard you say something this morning, and then, one thing that made me this week, and this is where, again, I'm growing with more respect for the Gator general manager. Sorry, I got to.
For who?
For the Gator.
Can you say that one more time?
For the Gator general manager, or your guy, Howie Roseman. I'm sorry, I almost threw up in my hand here. But I'm starting to get a little more respect for the guy, and I'll tell you why. So Haslam in Cleveland thinks that the problem is going to go away by not fucking addressing Myles Garrett. And he just assumes that he thinks that that's just going to go away, and we don't want to talk about it, where he has all the leverage in the world. I don't want to play for you. You could give me all the, you know what's happened here, why he doesn't want to meet. Because he doesn't want the 3-year, 116 extension. His agent probably told him that, but they don't want to go public with that yet. And he said, I don't give a fuck how much you pay me. I'm not staying here. I don't want to. That's the leverage that Garrett has.
Right.
That's why I think the owner came back and went, I'm not meeting with the guy, and I'm just going to fold my hands. Here's the difference between, you think Jeffrey Lurie would let Jaylen Carter walk out of the building knowing that he's got to drop a $40 million note next year per annual salary to that guy, and that's coming, 38 to 40 million bucks. That guy, in my opinion, you could say all the shit you want about Lurie, but the one thing he does do, they pay him if you perform, and they see you as part of the future, and they like you. In my opinion, look at Mike Brown. Mike Brown, because they franchise tagged T. Higgins, and because they gave Burrow the money, they're going to let a guy who led the NFL in sacks walk out of the building because you don't want to fucking pay him? I mean, this just shows you where the Eagles are running circles around people. The owner pays, the owner meets, and the general manager figures it out.
This is a joke.
You know what Howie is? Howie's a problem solver.
This is a literal joke. All right. And let me explain something very clearly here. I think this is a problem bigger than this scenario, but a big problem in the world where people don't like to have conversations. Okay. Yep. Let me tell you something right now. Jimmy Haslam has owned the Browns since 2012. He has two winning seasons since 2012, and the winning seasons were 11-5 and 11-6. His record in 13 years as an owner of that football team is 73 and 138. Jeffrey Lurie shouldn't even be mentioned in the same breath as him because Jeffrey Lurie doesn't have these problems. You're telling me Jimmy Haslam, that has nothing of success as an owner in the NFL, isn't going to meet with maybe the only good thing that's ever happened to the Browns organization in his tenure, and that's have a Hall of Fame player in Myles Garrett? You won't even pick up the phone and say, Myles, I know you want to talk about this with me. I'm going to leave this in the general manager's hands. I'm going to let Andrew Berry manage it. I respect you coming to me, but I don't want to step on my general manager's toes. I hope we can come to an agreement. You can't even have that conversation? Dude, that's bad ownership. That's bad managing of a company. That's bad everything through and through. I don't know how you could look at it and think like that and then expect that you're going to have some sort of success moving forward as an owner. You're not. What you've done in the last 12 years or 13 years as an owner is exactly what you'll always be as an owner. You will lose a majority of the games you play. You'll never have a team of substance, of value, and you won't get great players to come and want to play in your organization. And handling Myles Garrett like that is one of the best ways to solidify that never happens. So what a joke by Jimmy Haslam.
How about to expand on that? And in the process, in the last 26 years of you owning the fucking team, you signed the worst contract in the history of football with Deshaun Watson's contract. He's not even going to play this coming season. You have and you're searching for a guy in Cam Ward. You're praying is somebody. I mean, dude, you expand that. So you make the Browns make one shitty move after another, and it's compiled. I mean, they took a crap on Art Modell. Rightfully so, the way he yanked the team out and moved it to Baltimore. They fucking won at least. I mean, they never got to a Super Bowl, but they got the AFC championships, and they were good. And by the way, Art Modell was the guy who won the Super Bowl when he had the Ravens in Baltimore. I'm just saying, dude, you shit all over Art Modell. He was the best owner you had since Paul Brown. Now you got this guy making decision after decision. And his reasoning is this: I don't want to meet with him. Fuck, dog. That's not going away. That problem is not going away. That's why I think Miles has leverage, man. I think he's going to tell them,
well,
I'm
yeah.
not playing.
If he doesn't play, I mean, every guy has leverage in terms of that, but Miles could also mess up his career. I mean, look what Hassan Reddick did. Look at how many other instances there are of that where, yeah, the player will win eventually, but it might not be good for the player.
Yeah, but here's the difference. I got $79 million coming to me.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
That's
that
true.
dude.
I just think, look, I think this handling of this by Haslam, and I don't know if it's been reported completely accurately, but I mean, what are we talking about here? The best guy you've ever had in your ownership, who's going to the Hall of Fame, wants to meet with you, and you're telling him no. You can't have a phone call. You can't have a conversation. You can't sit down with that guy. I mean, I just don't understand that thinking at all. I would meet, if I was the owner of a team, I would meet with the 53rd man on the roster if he wanted to meet with me about something. I don't care. I would meet with the janitor. I don't give a, if somebody wants to talk to me about something and the time is in my day to do that, and they care, or they are representing a common thing. In my case, it would be JAKIB. In Jimmy Haslam's case, it's the Browns. I would meet with them, but I don't know. Maybe I have a different take on it than others. I think that's just egregious on his part to do it. But hey, all this controversy, it's go for the birds again.
Let me give you a little something that I just got here, a little nugget. So it looks like the 49ers are now the favorites to get Jonathan Allen. And so looks like they're probably going to add Joey Bosa. They'll have Bosa, Allen, Nick Bosa, and Fred Warner. And maybe they're going to have a health. I mean, if I were looking at the teams, now again, Xander, you're at the poll. You're far ahead of all these teams. Okay, right now. And I would say this: 49ers get health. They ink up their boy. I get him at a decent price. I'm not paying him 50. I'll give him 45. Okay. You got Brandon Ayuk back. You get health with Trent Williams. You get Kittle back. You get the whole unit back. 49ers could be somebody. I'm not saying that they're a contender to win the NFC. I'm not. I'm saying you never know how things fall out. You improve your defense. The Rams, in my opinion, are the team. If I were to look at one team, we kind of hit this yesterday a little bit, but going back, Verse is going to be better. Fisk is going to be better. Kitchens is going to be better. The entire Ayuk is going to be better. Don't be shocked if Devontae Adams lands in Los Angeles. You get Ayuk and you get Puka Nacua, and you get Devontae Adams, who I still think has ball with him, with Matthew Stafford, and with that organization. I think the Rams are a really good organization. I like the way they do.
Yeah,
I do. If you had to pick a team, is it still Washington and Detroit, or could you see the Rams in that conversation?
I could see the Rams. What I can't see right now is the 49ers. I'm sorry. And I'm looking at this objectively because I think their roster is old and aging. I don't think they've done the right moves, the right contingency plans to handle turnover on their roster. I think they're in a really shitty spot with the quarterback. Do they want to pay him? And I don't dislike Brock Purdy, but when you pay him, what other fallouts are going to happen on your roster? I mean, I just don't. I think in a way that window that they had is rearview mirror, and they have to retool. I think they're where the Eagles were in 2019, 2020, where they didn't want to admit to themselves that they needed to regroup, and they struggled because of it. I don't think the 49ers are going to get better. I'm sorry. I just don't. I know they have some great players. A lot of the players you name, though. How old's Fred Warner? How old's Trent Williams? How old's George Kittle? I mean, Brandon Ayuk, good player coming off a big injury on a massive contract. I don't even think he can hold a candle to Devontae Smith. I mean, I'm sorry. It's Christian McCaffrey. What a great player he is. What's he going to look like moving forward? I don't see it with the 49ers. And I'm not saying that from an Eagle fan. I'm saying that because objectively, I really don't see them as that one going to be one of the top teams in the NFC. I don't think they're built for it. I think we talked about this a little bit ago. I think those 3 first-round picks that they sent for that dude, they managed it well at the time and they got to the Super Bowl. But all of a sudden, like I just said, there's no contingencies in play. There's no young, good players on that roster. Why? Because they didn't have first-round picks. So I think they're not in the best spot, and I think they have a lot of work to do to get back to it. By the way, I just looked it up. They're one of the oldest rosters in the NFL.
You want to bet they draft that kid from Boise State?
Ashton Genty?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would not make.
I'm not either. I think he's a really good.
I like him, but I think he's got to go to the right team. I heard Cowboys talk about him too. I'm like, what do you want him for? Why did Dallas fans do? Why? It's like Dallas fans are glutton for punishment. Why
Dallas
do you want
needs
to draft
a guard?
You want to draft a running back in the first
they
round?
Need a guard,
dude.
They
Your
don't
team,
need a running back,
dude. Who does Dak Prescott throw to besides CeeDee Lamb?
I don't know.
Dude, the Dallas Cowboys
need an O-line.
They have a bust on the defensive line. They're losing offensive linemen. Their defensive ends are all old. I mean, what are you talking about? You want Ashton Genty? This is where Howie and the Eagles. We don't worry about these things in Philly because we don't build our team this way. We don't build our team this way.
You build it in the trenches.
Build it in the trenches, and you worry about all the other shit next. And you can even miss egregiously on guys like Jalen Reagor and recoup and readjust and have 2 starting quarterbacks in 4 years and 2 Super Bowls in 7 years with 2 entirely different teams. When you're forward thinking, when you stay ahead of it, when you stay ahead of your roster, and you make moves like Howie Roseman does. All these other GMs, I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Last one here for you. Of all the guys that are remaining free agents, who is the least expendable Eagle free agent right now? And that's, get this, assuming you could sign anybody you wanted.
Right.
Who do you think is the most important person that you're kind of concerned about replacing if you have to lose? Who would that be?
Well, I'm going to preface it by saying, you bring up this question. It's a great question, but it shows you that I really do feel pretty good about all the spots with where we are. If I had to answer, I'd probably say Becton, just because of this. Saquon Barkley had 400 plus carries last year. You just signed him to a massive contract, a well-earned, a well-deserved contract for him. You've committed now your offense to probably what you saw last year. This is going to be the style, at least for the next year or two. Do we want to rotate an undersized guard in Tyler Steen, who I don't think has been bad? Do we want to go to him and risk messing up the continuity that we built in the running game last year? I think if you're telling me we can sign anybody, I think why not bring him back there? If you're not worried about the 3rd round pick you spent on Steen, I would probably lean Mekhi Becton. I think you could make a case for Josh Sweat. Not that he's going to come back, but edge rushers are a premium in the NFL. If you don't have a good contingency to replace him outside of the NFL draft, you could argue that Josh Sweat would be there. The one guy who, and I disagree with many Eagles fans on this, and I've come to this conclusion after much offseason talk the last couple of weeks, I think you can easily let Milton Williams walk. $25 million. You're playing next to Jaylen Carter. You were playing in front of Zack Baun. I hope you get paid because you earned it, Milton. I want you to get paid. I don't want this to read as though I dislike the player or I don't like the guy or I don't think he's earned the money. We don't need to spend $25 million in the city of Philadelphia for Milton Williams right now. I'm sorry. That does not make sense. So him, I'm perfectly fine letting walk.
How about the production that will be the toughest to replace? Because hear me out here. Milton Williams, everything you said is correct. And plus, I got to think about the guy next year in 26 offseason.
Exactly. Who you just said might get $40 million, and you're probably not far off.
I got to think about that dude where I got to look at mine because I got to think about what I'm doing with that dude. My question would be the production, though, Sweat gives you a ton of reps.
Yeah, I would
gives
agree.
You a really great line at the end of the year. Milton gives you the versatility. Like I mentioned, playing in a 7-5 and 3 techniques, can go up and down, can even play nose for you. I mean, he gives you so much, and that's what I think he's going to be paid for because he's productive. Here, watch this. Jordan Davis is not productive in a 3. He's barely productive in a 2 technique.
Yeah.
He's productive right now in a nose. Milton is productive on a 7, 5, 3, and a 0 technique.
That's true about Milton.
He is productive. Oh, that's his value. It's not the gigantic numbers. It's that he's good. You can put him any. I think that's why Vic wanted him in Miami, because he's so versatile. And that's, I think, one of the staples of the defense last year, and the versatility of Baun going up and down the sidelines, covering tight ends, blitzing, being in that seam. Same thing with Dean Dorrell. Look at the versatility of Cooper DeJean. You lose a little bit of that versatility with Milton in there. That concerns me.
I agree with that.
He plays 3 different positions. He's kind of 3 players wrapped up in one.
You're right. He's good in the 7 tech, 5 tech. He's good at every spot on that defensive line. And you're not wrong about that. I do wonder, because you just said that, I wonder if there was a sort of a conversation between Howie and Vic, and I'm speculating, but like, hey, Vic, I can't get all of them, but if you could only have one, would it be Baun? Would it be Milton? Would it be Josh? Like, I do wonder if that conversation took place, because I think I'd love to hear Vic Fangio's answer, because I agree Milton is versatile, but dude, you're playing next to Jaylen Carter. Like he was the best defensive tackle in the NFL last year outside of Chris Jones. And you could maybe even make an argument he was as good or better than Chris Jones. Probably not last year, but I think he will be moving forward. I don't know. I mean, I hear you. And by the way, you brought up the point on Jordan Davis. Yo, if we're going to talk about extending Jordan Davis, you got to at least get to being able to play a 3 technique. I don't need you to play 5 or wide or any of that stuff, but if you can't play a 3 technique, dude, I can't pay you $12 million, $10 million if you can't do that. I mean, dude, you're a burly defensive lineman. You got to be a little bit more versatile than just a nose. I'm sorry, you have to be. But anyway, I digress. On that. But I agree with you on Milton. It's going to be interesting to see. But Sills, he's going to get a huge bag of money.
Yeah, 3 years, 80 plus. He's going to get. There's no doubt. I mean, hey, just to your point, Kobe Turner with 9 sacks last year when Aaron Donald was playing next to him. I didn't hear about that kid this year. Yeah. I didn't even know he was on the field. I heard about the rookies.
That's a great point. Yeah.
I heard about the rookies all year, Fiskin with the other kid here. So, Xander, I think we only have a few supers today. Guys, by the way, you've been absolutely great. And I got to tell you one thing, Xander. All the shit that's been going on around the show.
I love it.
I do too. And I'll tell you this. I got to thank our folks.
Oh, they're the best.
Have they not gotten my back everywhere? Social media here, everywhere. I mean, I don't get that. I've never had. I told you this before. My wife, my aunt, everyone, they're concerned every single day that I lose my job. Every day because of what this industry has done to me.
I don't know.
I get it, but you know what?
I get where you're coming from. They have experience in it. I understand.
Yeah, but, it's not friendly. And so to see, and then John Morgan post that on my Twitter page.
That's one guy I wouldn't want coming after me.
Hey, you understand that guy gives $5 to $6 million politically on both sides of the aisle every 4 years. They go after him and on their knees, scraping, getting money off him. And he goes, I stand with Big Sills. I mean, I think our whole community now, man, I got to tell you, man, I agree. I think they're afraid of us now, man.
Well, there's a lesson in there. And I hope that the 2 guys who can't keep your name out of their mouth are listening, because they don't understand. They're missing something here that will be the reason and has been the reason for the demise of traditional outlets. Look at what you've done. Look at the community that you've built. Look at the way people say they resonate with you and your show, and look at how passionate they are to defend us and JAKIB. They're missing it. They care what Sileo, they care about what a headline read 13 years ago. They care about what Sileo's take on Jalen Hurts was. They're missing what you do that makes you so special. And I believe, obviously it would have never been realistic and early in your career, but I believe this platform that you have been massive part of building is the best setup for Big Sills, because it allows you to get so close and personal with the people that, and by the way, I do think not to toot my own horn at all, and I'm not saying it for this reason, but I think there's been a shift in the channel in the last year where we used to kind of just be this big network that had a bunch of shows and a bunch of different things, and people listened to who they liked, but there was no true connection with the audience. Now I think this has really become a community. This has really become a legion of Eagles fans, supporters, Big Sills supporters that want to be here every day, that like to hang out with us. And, you know, I'm proud of it. I think you should be proud of it because you do an incredible job at building up your community. And again, as long as they're talking, Big Sills, keep talking, baby. Because we ain't going anywhere.
I got to tell you, man, you don't know the people that have been behind the scenes, like texting me. Angelo last night sent me laughing faces all night long going, hey, you should be so proud and you should be in JAKIB. And so I you know, and we had a guy post something going, hey, if Mike thought this guy was so bad of a person, why'd he go on your show 22 times?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, wait, let me guess. It's because you got into a contract dispute with you and your dad.
Also,
the guy decided.
What man goes on a public forum and calls another man a misogynist? Like, what does that even mean? Like that what? Like, that is the weirdest thing I've ever. I was listening to that and I'm like, what, bro? What are we talking about here? But anyway, I digress. I'm going to let everybody do what they want to do. You know what I'm going to keep doing, Sills? I'm going to keep focusing on what we got. I'm going to keep focusing
give me the Jalen Hurts line. Well, what's the Jalen? Right?
Keep the main thing, and focus on what we control. I think they work here well. I really do. Let's keep focusing on JAKIB. Let's keep building up this community, this sandbox, because ultimately, as you just thank the people, I thank them every day, and I hope they know how much I'm appreciative of it. But these people give us freedom from all of the bullshit you see in the corporate broadcast world, all of the things that have held Sills back, all of the things that have slandered you and created a narrative around you that you still fight to this day, 13, 15, 10 years later. All right. These people are, I can't thank them enough because we wouldn't be here without them. We really wouldn't. So it's really
but you know what? I got to say one last thing to you and your dad. You know how many people, I got to give you one last story. Then we'll read a few of the super chats here. So let me tell you a story about Phoenix, because there's a story out there. I walked into, and I was going to do a show in Phoenix, and we had, get this, I walked in, iHeart was going to bring me back, and I was going to do it from San Diego, and I was going to do an afternoon show. I walk in there, dude, they had this giant rollout. I had everybody in iHeart, Linda Little, everybody, the market manager. And I walked in and I said, you know what my wife said? I'll be fired by Friday. And you know what they said? They never fired me. We just did it. We walked away from it. I go, we'll never do it. We're iHeart. We don't do that. And I went, my wife says, you won't last past Friday. And so I did a couple shows for him that week.
Your wife knows you well.
Hey, but I didn't. And then get this. People in the company called in. I got a call on Friday night. Hey, we're not going to release anything. I go, you're kidding me. We're not going to move forward with this. And I go, my wife was right. She said I wouldn't last past Friday. It was Monday. They told me they would never buckle. Friday, they said we can't because we're too nervous about you.
5 years in April, Big Sills. 5 years in April.
April 26th.
5 years. Big Sills has been with JAKIB for 5 years, baby.
It's incredible. Hasn't it flown?
The best is yet to come. That's all I'll say, because I truly believe that. I think you truly believe that.
I do.
People in the chat believe that because, you know, we're really just, I mean, I know you've been here for 5 years, so it doesn't feel like this, but we're really just getting this thing going, man. We're really just starting to crank this sucker out. We're learning more about this every single day. We're learning more about the community, what to do to make better content. It's all, we're in a great spot, and we appreciate each and every one of you guys for listening because you guys make it possible. But that's a great Big Sills story.
Absolutely. Hey, I think we just got a few today.
Yeah, Boulevard. Thank you, brother. Boulevard, because remember, thank you, my man. I appreciate that. Memberships go a long way for us. So big thanks to you, Boulevard.
Absolutely.
Brian Pumper, the legendary Pumper. Pumper, will you go to the shit list or will you get off?
Hey, by the way, has his takes gotten better?
No. Pumper's been, honestly, Pumper's
Wow.
seriously been down bad. Pumper, I love you, but like you're struggling. You're worse than what Sileo's predictions were for the season. All right, you've got to get better. He says this dude AJ always want to interject in drama. Okay, send that bum to New England for number 4 and Gonzo. Get it done, Howie. Female tendencies too strong with this one. Come on, Pump. We ain't getting rid of AJ Brown, but I do agree he didn't need to interject at all.
Oh my God. Come on, Pump.
Come on, Pumper.
Yeah.
Illuminati 85 says re-sign Morrow. He had 95 tackles and 3 sacks in 23.
Come on.
Bro,
Hey,
we're not. You can't tell me we're talking about Nicholas.
85. The only post you had that was worthy is the one that you've been here since fucking day one.
Yo, Illuminati,
Thank
bro.
you,
We
but
just got an
no.
all-pro linebacker for the first
Yeah.
time in maybe ever, and you're telling me you want to re-sign Nicholas Morrow?
No, thank
No,
you. No.
no,
No, thank
85,
you.
please, no.
Nick Morrow. Give me a break.
For the love of Pete. Brian Pumper. We got Keely and Trot.
Keely.
Save those other dudes for the bum teams. No more shopping at the retirement home. It's a young man's game.
That's a good take.
That's a good take. That's a
Hey,
good
by the
take.
way, Pump, they should have been playing these guys in 23.
Let me ask
But I
you
think
something.
that
though,
had
right?
a lot to. I think that had a lot to do with the crazy defensive coordinator that they put in over Desai. I think that had a lot to do with what's
All right,
his
well, let
name.
me ask you a question then on this, because I don't disagree with Pumper, but I'll say this. If Slay's gone, Brandon Graham is gone, Lane Johnson's is he your only guy left that's older than 31, 32? I mean, are you any concerned at all about the lack of veteran presence in the locker room? And remember, we've had a couple of years here, Sileo, where rookies in Philadelphia have played incredibly well. I don't know if they're tied together. Correlation's not causation, I understand, but do you lose that? Do you value that old guy? Because now with Slay and BG potentially gone, you're not really looking at a large contingency of older guys.
Are you trusting that the winning has made leaders of these players that you've
Well,
had?
it has.
4 years?
I think it has for sure.
Okay, well then you've got to feel comfortable in your player development, in your leader development, that players are differentiating themselves. You know who I would look at as the young leaders and the aspiring leaders? I would look at guys like Hurts, Mulata, Devontae Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I might even look at, by the way, Zack Baun might be a leader now.
Yeah,
And
I think he will be.
how you look at how you were down here where no one likes you, and all of a sudden you're fucking over here. And as a matter of fact, I think
Barkley too. Good one, Crawley. Barkley's a great
Barkley
leader.
too. You know, let me throw this at you. What Jason called? Do you think the Eagles are still pausing in any way on Jaylen Carter? And see, I disagree with Jay. I disagree.
Well, I don't disagree with Jason. I just don't think that Jason
That's a
covers
big number. That's a big
Jason
number.
covers the league. Remember, Jason isn't focused on Philadelphia. So I think if he was a little more focused on Philadelphia, he would probably have seen that Jaylen has all of that stuff is in the past now. And I honestly think Jaylen has really.
He's got a couple bumps during the season when he's on the sidelines doing some of that stupid shit too.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
I get it. It's hooligan shit. It's not something that makes me go nuts on. I got it.
Well, here's the thing too. If I asked you to stop being Dan Sileo, what would that do to this show?
No,
it wouldn't work. If I stopped being myself, what would that do to my show?
No, I played like that.
So exactly. So Jaylen Carter, yeah, he's an angry dude. Yeah, he slaps Steelers guys in the helmet. Yeah, he punches some dudes in the head sometimes. Yeah, he does. He's the best defensive tackle in football. I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't care at all. All right. He seems to be handling his business off the field. Obviously, has to continue to do that, but I don't have any concern.
Hey, I got to tell you, I think Clint Hurts the best coach for him.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
Another good match.
You see what Clint did on the sidelines when Nick came over there? He's like, I got the guy.
I'll handle it. Yep. I
think because let me tell you something about Clint. He's a no shit dude too, and he's a big dude.
Yeah.
You're not going to get in his grill. I know him personally. He's one of them dudes. You know, Xander, they put a great coaching staff together defensively this last year. I mean, the Bobby King kid, Clint Hurt, Vic, the DB coach. Fuck, man. They really did a great job.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. They I talked about it a little earlier with I think the way Nick handled the locker room. I think the way Vic handled the locker room. You bring up Clint Hurt. I think Bobby King was a great match. They really did assemble a good coaching staff this year. It worked out really well. So good stuff. Let's keep rolling here. Sileo Blaze, I don't know if you got these. I think I came on right at this point. He says, if we cut Goddard, we're trading up for Warren. I doubt that, dude.
No, I don't either. No way.
Dude, I doubt that. We need picks.
If you cut Goddard, you're going to take the Miami kid.
Dude, remember, we don't have any 6th and 7th rounders, too. We have 3 5s, a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1. We got 7 picks in this draft. They're not like swimming in picks anymore. Those days are in the past.
You don't really think you didn't like my yesterday when I said tied in at 2.
Well, that's where John had him today because I took your exercise, which I thought was great, and I did it with John today, and I had to. I'll read you off what I put and what he put. I put with the 7 picks. I went DN round 1. Offensive line round 2 because I just think they're going to stick to their trenches. Tight end round 3, defensive tackle round 4, linebacker round 5, and I got that right from you. I thought what you said yesterday was perfect. Round 6, I went running back because I don't think they're going to sign Kenny Gainwell. And round 7, I went wide receiver, but I think you could also go maybe secondary guy safety there. John went defensive tackle round 1, tight end round 2, defensive end round 3. Wide receiver, and he didn't really put these in order, but wide receiver, defensive back, defensive line, and running back with the last 4 picks. So John had tight end at 2. I had tight end at 3. You had tight end at 2. We all know they need a tight end right in that range.
Pretty interesting on the wide. I didn't think about it because I don't think they like the kid Smith, and I don't think they like the FSU kid. Would they go in there with that 4th round pick? And would they drop a wide receiver in there? I mean, that, and by the way, that would be like a Nick pick because that's his former position, that he was a position coach. And am I right when I say this? Every single draft that they've had since he's been the head coach, haven't they taken a wide receiver?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to think
Devontae was the first year with Nick. And then I'd have to look, but I think so.
I think every year that he's been there, that they've drafted a wideout. I mean, or I know this, they brought that kid from Indianapolis over.
Last year they drafted Anias and Johnny. The year before that, they did not draft a wideout in 23. 22, no, as well. They drafted a tight end, Calcaterra, in the 6th. And then 21, they drafted Smith, obviously, in round 1. And 2020, which was the last year of Doug, was Jalen Reagor, John Hightower, Queasy Watkins, and all that.
Okay.
I think Quez's name is now Queasy. We've called him that so many times.
Yeah, we labeled him.
All right, here we go. Illuminati. Would you trade DG and a pick to Arizona for McBride? DG. Who's DG? Dallas Goddard and a pick to Arizona for McBride. Why would they give up McBride?
No. Again, I got to love Eagle fans. You guys want to get the better end of the deal always, but stop trading.
Well, bro, Howie always wins. We're spoiled from Howie. Every deal that happens, we've won.
I mean, this guy wants to send Trevor Keegan for Zach Thomas or for Zach Martin.
There's only one deal that maybe we didn't win, and it was a draw. It was when we traded up for Devontae Smith, and Dallas picked Micah Parsons at 12, and we took Smitty at 10.
I'd take Smitty.
The bold take.
Because get this, that's my very first horrible take on this network.
Yeah. There we go. It was. Here, Brian Fleming. Oh, I didn't, by the way, I understood your logic in that take. It didn't work out for you, but I understood where you were coming from. Brian Fleming says, what do you think of Landry from the Titans? I think it's Harold Landry. Just got cut, like him at edge for cheaper than most. Also, can I get a Jahan Dotson?
Yeah, I like that. Jahan Dotson.
There you go. Harold Landry. I don't dislike him. I think he was pretty productive last year too. Let me look up what his stat line was.
Remember when he clears waivers, that contract, now you're just putting a bidding number together because once these guys clear, Jonathan,
dude, he signed a 5-year, $87 million deal in 22. Like what?
Yo, that money's gone.
That money's gone, right? That guaranteed money.
The only thing that's due him is it was whatever the guarantee was. Outside of that whole contract, that's why the guaranteed money. Now he had 9 sacks last year, dude. I mean,
I don't hate it. I don't hate either. It's not a bad call, Brian. I don't think it's a bad call.
No.
We'll see. We'll see what
9 sacks. Not Hey, man, everyone wants to play in Philly now.
Look, they're going to do something at edge. They're losing Brandon Graham, presumably, and Josh Sweat. They got to do something, and it's more than just a draft pick.
I think it's going to be what the board looks like at 32.
Well, I think they're going to do that, but I don't think they're going to end there. I think they're going to have to do something else, unless they believe in Huffle Schnufflegus. Brian Pumper, last one. Captains should be Hurts, Saquon, Lane, Landon, Baun, Jordan, and CJ. Jordan
Davis?
Jordan Mailata. Jordan Mailata. Wow, that's a good captain group. I think I agree with everything. I don't know about CJ. I know
I'll put Devontae there.
CJ is an emotional leader of the football team because he brings such a big energy. But I don't say this as a knock on him because I do like him. I like his personality. I think there's a place for it. But I don't think he's the type of guy that wears a C on their chest in terms of he's a little bit erratic. He's a little bit emotional. Again, those are all good things. That's what helps him play good, but I don't see him as a captain. We'll see what ends up happening there.
He's a fucking Gator. I'm not making him my captain. Fuck that.
I do think Pumper laid out pretty good one. So
yeah, that's good. Look, I would put Devontae there for CJ.
Lane and Landon, both good. Lane will probably get it.
Would you put Jurgens over there?
Nah.
Tell you what, man, him playing the way he played with his balls out
but
there.
Landon's more of the guy. I mean, you see Landon do those breakdowns. I choose violence.
All right. Okay. I'm good with it.
I love it. I freaking love it. I used to have a shirt. I would, you see, if I was,
Are you wearing actually Tennessee colors? How dare you?
No, I'm wearing Miami colors.
Okay. I'm going to go there.
No, I can't do that because, somebody said that to me once. I wore a blue Kangol and like, that's Cowboys colors. I'm like, oh, so I can never wear blue again because some random team in Dallas is colored blue? No.
Oh, the Cowboys are random.
Fuck the Cowboys. I'm wearing blue, and it's not going to have to do with the Cowboys because I like blue.
The only thing I get more shit for is that fucked up helmet I have back there. That's the only. Xander's like this,
I used to have a shirt that. Did you not see that Landon Dickerson get? I choose violence. I used to have a shirt that said, "Give violence a chance." That's a little too. That's not PC enough for.
Let me tell you what Xander said there. I'll tell you guys a little bit behind the curtain. So Xander goes like this. When we put these these clips together and shit. The only thing that fucks them up. I'm like, what hurts it? He goes, that fucking cowboy helmet always gets in the middle of that. And it's hey, just so you know, he's looking out for you guys all the time. He's going like, the fucking cowboy helmet, man. Gets in
I got a comment last night. What the fuck is that? What is that? People have like aneurysm. Yeah, I'm telling you, they warps people. That thing. It's Swagger. No, this is not Nike, bro. This is that's McLaren.
Oh, oh my God, it's F1 stuff.
I got that at the F1 thing in it. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not a McLaren.
In Miami?
I'm a Red Bull fan. I'm a Red Bull F1 fan because I like Max Verstappen is my guy. But
did you watch the St. Pete last week? I did.
No, I didn't catch it. I've been so on all this stuff. But
I watch that every weekend. I watch F1.
Yeah, F1's dope. I love F1.
Yeah,
F1's cool, but I'm a big Verstappen guy. I like Verstappen, but this sweatshirt's really dope. It's got McLaren's on the back. Look.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
It's cool. It's a cool sweatshirt. Yeah, it's a cool sweatshirt. So I had to pick it up.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
I appreciate you, man. Great stuff this week. We've had
you had a killer week, bro. Everybody dropped some claps in the chat. Sileo had a really banger week this week. He had a couple big ass shows, big ass reactions to some new moves that the Eagles made, some big interviews, great guests. Really good show this week.
I think personally, people got a little aggravated about that in your market there. So I don't know. Maybe that's what's happening here a little bit here. Hey, do me a favor. Will you fucking get me the goddamn clip, man? Please get me that son of a bitch. I know that you're going to be.
I can't do it. I don't have enough hands to do what I want to do to help our show. I need personal clips for Sileo. I mean, you got to be kidding me. I'll get it for you.
Hey, bro, I love you, man. Thank you so much, dude. I will catch you down the line here. Don't forget to catch him on Fake Ass News Tampering Monday. Make sure you check that out because, hey, what a week. Hey, you thought this last week. Wait till this coming week with us stirring the pot with that big old spoon of yours, man. Wait.
Next week's going to be epic, by the way.
Absolutely.
All my great Catholics, no meat today. Remember, everybody, no meat. Say an extra prayer on this Friday. Still appreciate you, brother.
You got it, dude. Appreciate Xander so much, guys. Do me a favor. Please hit that like button here. Don't forget our great friends at BetUS. NC2A tournament is right around the corner. Also, too, the conference basketball tournaments. What a great place for you to go and make some bets with our friends at BetUS. Partnership that we have had is absolutely blowing up. For you to be able to be part of the YouTube 150, giving you opportunities of signing bonuses up to 2K. Again, your second and third are 125%. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business. 24/7 personalized service, 365 days of the year. Live wagering on all major games. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sil sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sil's National Football Show. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. How much pressure do you think the Eagles put on the Sixers, Flyers, and Phillies? How are you even relevant in the building? Like, get this. If I'm going to spend season ticket money, am I going to spend money on a team? One, the owner doesn't really kind of give a shit about me. He's half in, he's half out because he owns the Commanders. That's an NFC East rival. Am I really going to support that? The Sixers? Plus, your superstar is a bum. I got nothing there for you. The Sixers probably are page 4 on my list of reading stories. The Flyers? listen, I love hockey. You know I do. By the way, I think it's amazing that Ovechkin is chasing down. How about that, Xander? Ovechkin is chasing down a record I thought would never be broken. And Wayne Gretzky's 894, I think it is. I think Wayne's number is 894, most goals scored. I never thought that record would ever be approached. So that's pretty cool. But outside of that, I mean, the Flyers are trying at least. And I like Tortorella. I know John well. The Phillies, you know what I always thought about Bryce Harper? I know a lot of you like Bryce Harper. Here, let me give you my take. So the Washington Nationals won a World Series when they got rid of him. He's a really great player. Wasn't he like the Josh Allen of Major League Baseball? He's like the James Harden of baseball, isn't he? Right? I mean, no, Harper's not Embiid because I think he enjoys playing in Philly and he knows where he is and he enjoys being a Philadelphia Philly. I think he does. So I don't put him as Embiid. I think Harper's got a great baseball man. I'm just saying, man. I mean, he's like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. And I do think he loves Philly. I do. Just saying, man. I mean, dude, Howie Roseman and the Eagles are just plastering. Hey, is your soccer team good? I don't follow soccer, and I don't pretend. You know, every 4 years I kind of have an interest a little bit in World Cup shit. Hey, by the way, 2026. So Philadelphia is going to have the World Cup coming to Philly. Is that right? Be prepared to have renovation money being asked by you to renovate Lincoln Financial here soon. That's coming. That's why they're going to the White House, too. That guy ain't pissing anybody off because he's going to need votes. Then he's going to raise your ticket prices. That's all right. Hey, listen, you're winning. Remember what they said? If they build it, they'll come. All right. That's where they got it over on every single team in Philadelphia. They did build it, and you came, and you'll continue coming. So that's right. Crowley says Harper's best years are behind him. You know, I would make this comment to you. When I looked at the best ball players in baseball today, you think that guy's better than Manny Machado? Machado plays a mean-ass third base. And Machado gets you 38 home runs a year, 35 home runs a year, hits you 280, and plays an insane third base. I don't know. I don't think Harper's better than Machado. I mean, if I had to pick a ball player, would you take Manny Machado over Bryce Harper? I'd probably take Machado, man. I mean, I think Harper's a good ball player, really good ball player. But I think the guy in San Diego, Manny Machado's a better dude, man. I'm not a better dude, but a better ball player. Because this guy owns a glove. Bryce Harper's never really owned a glove. He's not really known for his defense. Machado's an all-around ball player. I like the guy who's all around. Machado's a better ball player than Bryce Harper. Again, Manny's a 35 home run guy, 286, and plays Gold Glove baseball. He's one of the best players in the sport. He has been probably for the last 15 years. Guy's been sensational, man. All right. I was glad to see this one. So the transitional tag, I think, has been placed on Matt Ariza, the punter for the Kansas City Chiefs. Another great story. Guy who was accused of bullshit turned out to be not true. The accusations were just absolutely insane. Wrecked the year of his football career. Last year, he averaged 48 yards a punt, netted 42 yards. And the Chiefs want to get this. You got that guy on your football team for $960,000. That's a great sign. That's a great risk. I mean, but Sue, it's a transition tag. It's a transitional tag. Somebody could come in and offer him more, or in that the Chiefs would have to accept it because they get right of first refusal. Yale, there's nothing to comment on. District attorney who I spoke to said there were no charges. He was vindicated. He wasn't there. There were no signs of him being there. Just because somebody posted something about somebody, Yale, doesn't necessarily mean it's true. And I defend that. I happen to agree with you, William. William, I think there's bigger problems in Kansas City, and I think Baltimore and Buffalo, I think it's not a lot, Yale. It's only $1 million. I think Baltimore and Buffalo are going to take over Kansas City. I think Kansas City is going to have issues in the O-line. And I think, get this, the bringing back of the relic tight end, I think you have to sign another playmaker. I think you have to go out, and I think you have to basically do some moves in the draft to be able to do something in the draft. Okay? All right? Think you guys, without a doubt, I think absolutely, man. So I think Kansas City, in my opinion, I think Kansas City has done an absolutely sensational job in the past, but I happen to think with many of you guys, I think that the best is behind them. I completely agree with you guys that it's in the past here, man. Okay? I do. No doubt about it. And look, I think Patrick Mahomes, are going to have to do everything in their power to make sure that Patrick Mahomes gets more talent around him. And I do not believe that they've done a good enough job when it comes to replenishing that. And they're going to have to, in my opinion, if they're going to end up being something where they're going to be still in the ballpark. Mahomes just can't keep carrying the team like this. Okay? I mean, they're going to be a player. Make no mistake about it. They're going to be a player. But now let me throw this at you here. Monday comes legal tampering day. It's a bullshit time of the year, which means not that it's not going to be fun, but what's going to happen Monday is you're going to be able to start hearing the reality of what the deals are really going to be. And you're going to start getting a sense of where these players and where Josh Sweat is going. Did you see Josh Sweat takes an annual trip with one of the assistant coaches for the Eagles? This year he canceled it. He's gone. And so did Milton Williams. Milton Williams and Josh Sweat are gone. You're going to have to replace a lot of production and flexibility. Josh Sweat's going to be a tough putt. Let me say this. How they handle Slay. Look at Xander just brought this point up. You lose Slay and Sweat and Milton. You got the best corner that you've had in the last 15 years. He's gone. That's if they don't bring him back. Sweat has been the best edge rusher that you've drafted since Brandon Graham. Right? You got to replace. Milton Williams has been the second best defensive tackle that you signed since Fletcher Cox. Right? These are good football players. And elevating Moro Ojamo and guys like that and Thomas Booker, that doesn't necessarily mean that those guys are going to be as productive, especially with what you got with Milton. I think Milton Williams is going to be a tough replace because he's 3 players in one. He plays, like I was telling Xander, he's not going to get you 50, 60 tackles a year and 10 sacks. But what he is going to do is you get an injury at the D tackle position, play him there. You want to play in a 5 front, you can play defensive end. You want to put him at the nose in case of injuries to your nose tackle, Jordan Davis, you can put him there. He's 3 players in one. Who's Gabe Hall? Remember something that you have to understand about Vic Fangio here, okay? Just understand this about Vic. Vic Fangio, if you're good, you're going to play, no matter if you're a first-year guy or if you're a 14-year guy. He doesn't play people based on salaries. Bryce Huff is the greatest example of that. He's not going to do it. So next year, Howie's still got work to do. This first week, though, for him in free agency has been A+. Okay, it has been an absolutely sensational first week here for him and how he's dealt with contracts, how he's kept his relationship still with Slay, even with the crap that he's done. It's been great. By the way, Xander, I'm going to do with John Morgan. We'll come right back right after it here. Folks, don't forget our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. They've absolutely been sensational with us, and we're so proud to have these guys part of our program. I mean, the number 1 law firm in America when it comes to injury law firms. Their resume it speaks for itself. $20 billion in recovery. They have over 1,000 attorneys nationwide, right here in Philadelphia as well, that these folks here, man, make sure that they get their team together and they are going to get the best settlement for you and your family. I told you about all the families across the country. The one right here in PA, $650K. They were initially offered. They ended up getting $26 million in recovery. I mean, that's exactly who they are. If you're ever injured, please do me a favor. Check out my friends at Morgan & Morgan. For more info, you can go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's FOR, forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you make sure you tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
What a great week, and we appreciate John being part of the program. Just absolutely sensational. I want to take one more time to thank each and every single one of you. You know why you're under attack? Us? Why we're under attack by this guy and by people that are losing? Losers attack winners. Remember that. It's taken us 5 years to build this thing up. And what's happening is nobody's watching that station anymore. And they thought the guy that they were going to hire was going to save them. It's not. And that's why they're coming after us. You notice I don't say me. Us. That's why you're winning. This is not about me anymore. Not after what I saw this week. It's totally about us. Thank you. Fishing Maniac. 85. I know you've been here since day one. And I appreciate you being here since day one. Hey, I give you guys a lot of shit. I give my family a lot of shit too. And I want to thank you guys. Really, it's been not just a great week because we got great numbers. It's been a great week because I got great support. Have a blessed weekend. Thank you very much. From the bottom of my heart. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday, 2 to 6, and I'll catch you on the flip side.